Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 164. There's a lightsaber in my face, but I'm back in the basement.
I was going to start staring at it to see if my eyes will go weird, but I figured that was stupid.
Yeah. So we are back down to talk about another week of wrestling. We're going to have to go back a week in time and remember AEW All Out.
The one that we finished.
Right. And then we'll talk
I'll
about...
do that with a lightsaber.
We'll talk about Payback.
Nah.
When we get there.
Or lack thereof.
Could be lack thereof. Yes, for sure.
I don't know.
But just before you got home from work, it was interesting. I was going back. So as you may know, my son here, you know, and listeners may know or not, I have a bit of an audio gear obsession. You would agree?
Yes.
Yes.
That's your half of the shelf.
Correct. And specifically microphones, most specifically, right? So
Totally put this lightsaber there.
I go back and was listening to some old episodes because here's the level of my my level of my nerdery. I write down what microphones we're using every week because we switch them up a lot because I have a collection. I don't even know if you notice sometimes when I switch them on you, but
I almost never do.
Right. So I like to go back sometimes and listen to one.
On the other hand, don't listen to them at all.
Because like if I go, oh, episode 86 sounded really good. What were we using? I can go and look, right?
That's just so sad to me.
But,
do you have them in a Google Sheet?
No, I just write them down on this notebook
them in a
here.
Google Sheet because then you that's gonna run out eventually.
It is almost at the point of running out. So
I would spend
I'm analog, baby.
I
like the notebook on a clipboard, you know.
I do like that too, and I get where you're coming from, but I would still probably convert it just for ease of use, you know.
So the point was, I went back and listened to episode 90, which was A and B. Do you know why it was A and B?
I don't even know what that means.
We did two episodes. We did an episode 90A and a 90B.
Oh, no.
It was WrestleMania. So we did both nights.
That makes sense.
And we hated it. And it was good listening. I was like, man.
Oh, it's the last year's Mania.
We were both
That Mania was bad.
We were both so frustrated. It would just made for probably good stupid. Listening.
Oh, yeah. I love crapping on something intensely.
Yeah.
Which we'll probably get to in the news.
We could.
But it's weird because Mania this year was really good, actually.
It was, but I think it might make for better podcasts.
Oh
when
no,
we don't both
I really get into it when I'm crapping on something
because they're just like frustrated because match after match was just
there was the Vince
bad.
Thing.
Yeah.
Brawling Bruce had random squash. Pat McAfee sucked. Yeah. There's the Jackass thing, and the main event was boring.
It was just interesting because I just randomly picked episodes. Mm-hmm. I picked 70 something, which is going back pretty far, and then 90. And so tomorrow we are, being the wrestling nerds we are, a little indie federation that we frequent. This may be our 5th time going or something like that. Mine, I think. Maybe you're one less. But anyways, they're doing a little show in a city about 20 minutes from us. So we're gonna scoop you up from work and race down to watch that. I haven't even seen anything on the card or anything, but it doesn't matter.
I haven't seen them post anything. So
tickets are under $20. It's like 2.5 hours of, sometimes we see some good wrestling there.
Yeah.
And no matter what, we have fun.
It's decent.
And people watching is always good too.
Yeah.
That's
I love people watching.
GCW is the vlogger guy,
from Ringside Heat.
The social media guy
Why am I plugging them?
Oh yeah, you actually looked him up.
I did find him. I actually remember what his Instagram is, which I'm not gonna plug. But yeah, that was the one that was in a different venue and there was the guy in the Pokemon onesie.
Because right. Almost every indie show we go to, there's some sort of memorable fan. Which you saw one in the wild.
I saw one at. She was working at Fan Expo. I'm almost positive she was working
when we went to see Smash Wrestling at Rec Room in Toronto.
That makes sense because Rec Room's close to
Have we
Metro.
seen her once or twice at it?
I feel like it's twice.
Me too.
But for sure once.
And she's just very memorable.
Yeah.
She's very...
I love people watching.
Much loves wrestling and interacts. Clearly goes to every show Smash does and tries to interact with everybody.
People are fascinating. Sometimes.
They are fascinating. So that should be something fun to do tomorrow night. But I don't know. I don't really have much else.
I'm currently enjoying how the lightsaber looks on the black turned off TV screen. It looks
in the studio. Yeah, it looks nice.
That looks funny to me.
So you may hear lightsaber sounds in the background at some point.
I haven't muted right now, but I feel like once it powers off, it usually tells me so as well. So
it's currently Friday night, September 8th. So Victory Road is Impact Wrestling's pay-per-view ?
I guess
I don't know if it's one of the mini ones or whatever they call them, but
I would assume, yeah.
It's happening right now.
Victory Road's a good one, though, because that's when Jeff Hardy did the thing that Jeff Hardy did in TNA that everyone knows about.
Right. he did
That was 2011.
or didn't do the thing.
Yeah, whatever he did or didn't do.
Right. Didn't end up doing. Just what did they tell him? Like, just did he take like one move or whatever and it was over?
Like it was Sting did the Scorpion Death Drop and he like shoot pinned him.
Right. Oh, shoot pinned him. He was trying to kick out.
Yeah, because Bischoff came out and like just
yeah, it was
teased
like
on the
you're
fly
wasted. You can't do this.
And yeah, Sting like shoot pinned him and then the crowd was chanting BS and Sting said I agree.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, that's how that went.
Good stuff. I don't know. You ready to get into? It's probably gonna. I don't think it'll be super long, but it won't be short. It's never short.
It's
so
never short.
we should probably get started.
Mhm.
All right. So let's take a look first at some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. All right, our weekly ratings. NXT this week, 673,000 viewers, up 9.6%. 0.18 in the key demo, up 12.5%. So nice to have up 10% at least, pretty much in both categories. Third time in the last 4 weeks that so remember I told you these are interesting ones this week? Sorry. Here's the one for NXT. They're always grasping at interesting things I don't understand. The third time in the last 4 weeks that the show has had a year-over-year viewership decline. Before that, NXT had a 5-week stretch of increases.
I guess that makes sense.
Processing. It does.
It makes sense.
It's just funny how they.
It's just I never would have thought of that.
How they decide to latch on to something each week.
Yeah,
I
would never think of that.
So Dynamite averaged 887,000 viewers, up very modest 1.8%. Earned a 0.31 in the key demo, up 3.3. So no big move this week for them. Fourth highest rating the show has drawn in the demo since NBA season ended in June. That was the one I liked. Right?
I guess that makes sense.
Sure, but now we're going by when their competition stopped competing with them.
I guess.
Kind of.
Hey,
Yep. Interesting.
sure.
All right, what do you have for us?
The happiest moment of my life, perhaps.
What was that?
The Dudley Boys Signing Legends contract.
yes. You back to that gimmick.
Because I want I want Dudley Boys figures. That's what I.
Who doesn't?
So desperately after.
Does this mean he's going to get out of Impact, or can he do
know.
both? They'll probably let him.
I don't know.
I bet you. It's like you can do what you want. You just have to be available if we want you for whatever on a Talking Heads before a pay-per-view or Hall of Fame.
Make merch off of them. Like they'd probably be in the next game. They'd probably get figures again.
Exactly.
Maybe some Dudley Boys merch again. Or get like a replica Reverend Devon donation box. Get that going.
Yeah. Get
some Deacon Batista merch going.
Absolutely. I remember that. That's when he first came up.
That was his first thing, I think, yeah. That's what we're all looking forward to.
All right. What do I have? Zoe Stark apparently getting a lot of praise within WWE, according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful.
Probably because Church is so bad, she makes Zoe look good.
Great reviews from talent that she's worked with on main roster, as well as backstage people, for how she's handled call-up duties, and also before that, they were impressed with how she handled the knee injury and coming back from that and looking just as good as she did before, sort of thing. So good, because we liked her, right, in NXT.
Yeah,
Once she sort of figured her character out a bit.
I liked her in ring.
She's good in ring for sure. And the Zoe to Sleep finisher shout-outs, I think that's Poison Rana's.
That's a fun
creation.
I wish that was the name.
It should be. It's a cool looking move.
I was just like, I saw something from the Street Profits, and they did like a knockoff Street Sweeper, and I was just thinking, Street Sweeper, it's got to be one of my favorite moves.
It's a good
It's
a good
just
move.
one of those ones that sounds cool and it looks as cool as it sounds.
It does.
It's perfect.
What do you got?
The biggest news of the week, which probably happened, like, I wish if we had recorded a little bit later, or if we recorded the Saturday night, we could have gotten it. But CM Punk was finally fired by AEW.
When did that happen? Did we not? We haven't talked about it?
Or it might have been Friday night. I don't know. Because they mentioned it on Collision. So it might have been, I don't know.
But we didn't talk about it on the show? No, we didn't talk about
it.
Yeah.
I remember I was at work and it was like an hour in. And my friend texted me about it. And I was like, no way. And then I looked at the news.
And where was I? I came home and you couldn't wait to tell me.
Oh, because you were at Lyle's.
Oh, right.
And it was genuinely... I don't know if I'm joking or not, but genuinely one of the happiest moments of my life. I almost had tears of joy. This is like, I've been waiting for this for over a year now.
So released with cause, meaning like fired, basically.
Yeah,
for
hold
being
on. I
dumb.
scred the AEW statement because.
So is it like your lock screen?
Honestly, it would be funny to frame it and put it up here.
Sure.
Because that'd be so funny.
Big Punk supporters.
So. All Elite Wrestling has terminated the wrestler and employment agreements between Phillip Brooks, aka CM Punk, and AEW with cause effective immediately. Termination was confirmed by people, including Tony Khan. It follows the the backstage altercation and an internal investigation of said thing from All In London on August 27th. Tony Khan is quoted as saying, Phil played an important role within AEW, and I thank him for his contributions. The termination of his AEW contracts with cause is ultimately my decision and mine alone. Of course, I wish I didn't have to share this news, which may come as a disappointment to many of our fans. And then blah, 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 other stuff. AEW is still going to do whatever. And then on Collision, he also said his life, or he felt his security, his safety, and his life were in danger.
Right.
Lol, because CM Punk's a danger.
Yeah, and I had an update sort of linked to that too. There was rumors, right, that there was supposed to be a meeting between the Bucks and Punk planned to take place before All In, but Meltzer said that the Bucks were never approached about that, probably because there was no belief they would say yes to it, right?
So I was overjoyed with this. It's like you were saying, it's vindication.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate I told you so.
Kind of, right? Like this is what we said he was and what he would do, and
it was never
he's done it every time.
Always a fragile piece when he came back, I think. And to even call it a piece is a stretch because he like was banning people from Collision.
He needs to get some help with some stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Like as much as we dislike him, whatever, hopefully he figures out whatever his problem is, because he needs some work.
At the very least, just goes away forever.
That's fine.
And to know that he's probably not thrilled with this, and a bunch of CM Punk marks are not thrilled with this, it fills me with joy.
And apparently, too, AEW informed the Elite of a legal letter sent to them regarding the stuff they do on being the Elite. Said that it violates a term of their non-disparagement agreement. So Punk wasn't happy with. They were not. They were not nice to him on their
on a YouTube show. Yeah, I also saw a thing.
But other people need to toughen up and not be so soft.
The opposite of Punk, or similar, but also going backstage influences Danielson. I saw that like Tony Khan literally said to his dad that like if something were to happen, he should go to Danielson.
Right.
Which I thought was really cool because that's literally the opposite of what Punk turned out to be.
Anti-Punk.
And it's really interesting. I do kind of feel bad for Tony Khan because I watched a retrospective of Punk, and it's like at the first
he loves Punk.
He loved Punk.
Oh,
he was
does.
like head over heels, and it was like the happiest day of his life when he got signed. And then you flash forward a year later, and then we had the brawl out thing.
Yep.
And Punk's just like going off, and Khan's like right there. It's just I do feel a little bad for him in that respect, but again, we told you so.
Yeah.
I think I've been kind of against him ever since he came after Hangman because. I don't know what the hell Hangman ever did other than like one promo. Like, boo-hoo.
That could have been settled in a conversation.
Or better yet, just have Punk can say stuff too. I'm not talking about that time when remember he called out Hangman.
Yes.
Even though he knew he wasn't there. Like that's stupid.
That's
but like
CM Punk.
I don't know. Anyways, that was dumb, and all the nonsense is just the brawl out, the brawl in. Everything. And I did find it funny that immediately after he got fired, they had back-to-back shows in Chicago. That made me chuckle.
That is funny.
I was hoping the crowd would be annoyed.
I'm sure you'd be surprised to hear that Meltzer also said many others talked about the backstage atmosphere as if a dark cloud had been lifted over their heads and how much fun it was on the weekend shows.
Yeah, I think the backstage drama is going down a lot now.
Yeah.
And I was telling you, it's like this hate-filled void. There's this hate-filled void.
Someone will step up and fill the void of hate for you.
Yeah, it's just like, on some level,
you love to hate it.
I think it is a love-hate relationship there, or love to hate rather.
Hate watching is real.
It's something to behold. All his backstage drama every week. It was like I would say almost every
pretty
week.
Much.
He was
or whatever he did lingered long enough till the next thing. Like if it was a couple weeks, we were still talking about
the Jack Perry thing was basically right. Like, or no, that would have been a week because it was between All In and All Out.
And also related to that, and I'll just throw it in now, is his buddy Ace Steel also obviously released.
Of course.
5 days after Punk, he was only there to appease Punk. That was one of Punk's must-haves to be back. And once he's gone. I told
Why
you,
would they keep him?
My notes said there's no need to keep the amateur cannibal around. So he's gone too.
Cannibal wannabe.
Sorry, what else do you have? I only have like 2-3 other things.
One other thing related to Mr. Brooks once again. Apparently there were plans for a potential WWE return at the end of last year.
Yeah.
Which I find absolutely crazy.
Can have him.
Yeah. I don't wish that on them.
Wow. Not
I don't
even
wish that on them. If it was Vince, sure, because he will.
True, that would make a difference.
I don't respect or like Vince in any capacity. B, he would probably rein it in anyways.
Yeah.
Triple H would too, but Triple H, I think, and another reason why I like him, he doesn't like Punk either, and
No.
I think that's well documented. Which
Good-
I used to
Good judge of character.
I used to kind of have an issue with because like I know Punk was cool in WWE and whatever, but there's a new light on things, so I do respect it.
I say it all the time. As hard as I am on Punk, and as much as I dislike him, the summer of Punk, the Cena Punk feud, like kind of reignited some wrestling fandom for me. I was just kind of going through the motions, and then that was an awesome stretch of stuff, man.
Yeah, and he didn't cause drama back then. So.
And he found a bigger villain in Vince, right, to play off of. So it worked really well.
So for the potential return he was willing to leave AEW in favor of a comeback last December. He sought to compete in the Rumble and then feud with someone at Mania, potentially against whoever eliminated him from the Rumble. Kevin Owens was mentioned for this spot, which I'm glad that didn't happen because I think his storyline with Sami Zayn and the Bloodline is infinitely better than anything he would have done with CM Punk.
And you know Punk's going to come out on top in the end of whatever feud he's
I
in,
think
probably.
Him main eventing with Sami Zayn, winning the tag titles, and especially for me, like I love that match that they had with the Usos. For a main roster match, I love it. I absolutely love it. And if it was replaced with Punk, that would just be lame. There's no word on whether WWE were interested in that, but I think this was like kind of his pitch. I'm not really sure what really happened with that, but I think it's interesting at least. And
maybe they have
happened.
Maybe they already have an offer in, and he's sabotaging his AEW to be able to go.
He's Vince Russoing it or something.
Right.
Then isn't like the conspiracy theory that Russo was sent to destroy WCW.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Did a good job.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Did you see that Gable Steveson has been removed from NXT roster?
I did just see that. Like I think either today or the other day.
And so obviously you would go like, then he must be going back to amateur wrestling, but he also withdrew from the Senior World Championships. So
maybe he's just going all in on the Olympics.
Maybe. I don't know what he's doing, but won't see him on any, as we expected, right? Like.
Yeah.
Or so no, I expected him to stay when he was like.
Well, yeah, and because he just did a count.
So it's the opposite of what I expected.
Because he just did a count out draw and then it was just like, okay,
gone.
bye.
Well, I think part of it might be he didn't get the reaction, right? Like he was getting booed even though
against Corbin.
Right, wasn't supposed to be. So that might have been a red flag for them.
Yeah, I wonder if they
repackage him.
I wonder if the fans are just too aware of what
I think so. So maybe they're hoping that people will forget after a while, but I have a feeling
they're gonna change his name.
They might not.
They're gonna do that because they're like taking away someone's first name magically. Like
he'll be something Kemp, and they can be brothers like the new Creed brothers, and away you go.
Well, I like to think of like those take away, like he'll just be Gable or something.
Yeah.
Because like they just made him Riddle and like, oh, you can't search up things about him now. Like that's stupid.
Or it'll be Steve Gabeson or something bizarre.
They'll do the Daniel Bryan method where you just change around.
That's right. Just swap it out.
Just move around the variables, you know.
Yep. I have 2 more WWE related ones. You had anything?
No, I'm tapped out.
Well, one of them was Gunther. What's the news with Gunther?
Finally broke the record.
He did. He is officially recognized as the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion.
I saw he's the only wrestler in WWE to have 2 longest reigns because also he is the UK one.
Nice.
And which is cool because at the very least the UK one's untouchable now.
Super happy for him, man.
Because I think when he changed to Gunther, there was a very real risk of him just getting ruined.
Anytime anyone goes from NXT to main roster, there's like a better than 50% chance
Vince
they will
nearly
fail.
Killed it.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I don't know why I'm saying thankfully. I guess thankfully in a way, the allegations came to light.
Right.
Or what I guess and like what he was doing came to light, and I think Gunther is a major beneficiary of Triple H's takeover.
Vince going away.
Yeah, because I think Vince probably would have killed Gunther if he had the chance, but now here he is with the longest IC title run and a great one at that. So I think that's really cool because he deserves it, and I think the best way to do Gunther is to do long title reigns. I think that's always been a strong
because
suit
he's
of his.
So believable as being dominant.
Yeah,
right?
It works perfectly.
Yeah.
So I think that's great, and also just no offense to him, but Honky Tonk Man is the longest reigning anything is a joke.
It's polar opposites on the in-ring scale. Like it's kind of funny.
Yeah, just like
Honky got a lot out of being just a personality, right? He was serviceable in ring, maybe.
Yeah, it's just crazy that he's like.
But Gunther's a general.
One of the I guess prestigious is the word, but like one of the most like I guess it's like a fan favorite title. The
Oh, yeah.
Intercontinental title, like one of the most popular titles
It's my favorite.
in existence. The longest reigning champion was Honky Tonk Man. Like that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, especially when it's like the workers' title, too,
Right, which-
for most of it.
So I think
Which
Gunther,
Honky's not.
it's great.
Yep.
I'm super happy about that. It sucks Gable didn't win it because I would love for him to get something like that.
Yes.
But we can always do that.
Circle
again.
back around or
Yeah,
something.
I mean, sure, would it be their fourth match? Yeah, but only the third title match.
Right.
So,
The last thing I had is that LA Knight is expected to receive a mega push from WWE.
oh, good. After Money in the Bank.
Either finalizing or has already signed a new long-term contract,
I did see that, yeah.
and that he's gotten back-to-back victories at pay-per-views, right? And that apparently ratings for his segments are good.
Are we counting the Battle Royal as one of them?
I guess. And merchandise sales obviously are pretty good, so that's two things they care about. So good for him. We like him. He's kind of had to force his way through there, right?
Which is weird because, again, he's like such their kind of guy. Even in the Triple H regime, I think he's such a WWE guy.
And we'll get
it's
to that.
crazy that he's had to like this. That there's been this much of a struggle.
We'll get to it in our very, very in-depth payback review that's coming. The match he had there was something
Subpar.
very, very WWE, shall we
Oh,
say?
yeah.
Okay, so that wraps that up. So the first thing I guess we need to do is go back a week now and try and remember what we liked and didn't like on AEW's pay-per-view All Out. Okay, going back to All Out, I gotta consult my notes because without them, I don't know how much I remember. But and that's not to say I didn't like it either. It's just it's been a while.
Two things.
Consumed a lot of wrestling since then. So what was first, All Out or Payback?
Payback.
Okay, well let's talk Payback then. First,
Great.
was it?
Yes.
So full disclosure, we watched the opening women's cage match, which I thought was really good and over-delivered.
That was good.
I thought it was good. Meltzer gave it 4 stars.
No.
I'd give it 3.5 or 3 3/4. I thought it really looked good. And then we watched the LA Knight Miz match, which was
2.5.
That's what I said. Well, Meltzer gave it 2 1/4. I don't disagree. Just the most paint by numbers WWE match
like the simulations
of all time, right? And it was just, and I did see some other reviews, and that seems to be not just us that felt that way. That was pretty much widely considered a very basic match. And then we didn't watch anything else, right?
Yeah. I would like to check out the tag time match just because I saw the result and I think that's cool.
I also heard it was really good.
Yeah, I heard them. It looks good because it was a street fight, which I didn't know. And then also I wouldn't mind checking out Rollins Nakamura.
Yeah, I don't think we missed much else other than that. So that's all we watched of that. But now we can talk All Out for real. So the opening match is for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships, right? You got MJF and Adam Cole defending against Dark Order's John Silver and Alex Reynolds. Evil Uno is with them. You've got MJF and Cole coming out in their Better Than You Bebe shirts, but also with 23 on them, right?
Yeah, they got like Chicago.
Because they're in
Jersey
Chicago.
Variants.
Yep. And so Cole and Silver start out with a quick exchange of takedowns as the crowd is already into a double clothesline chant. MJF takes a shot to the neck and went out.
The crowd is pretty good in light of recent events.
Oh, for sure. The Chicago crowds you can pretty much count on. Say what you will. They're solid. So he gets a shot to the neck. He leaves the ring to get a break. Cole goes and checks on him. Silver takes advantage. The ref is distracted. Reynolds hits MJF with a chair. This then leads to Cole being all alone against both Dark Order opponents. And he's on defense most of the time here, as you would expect. But eventually MJF comes back to continue the match. Silver falls down, headbutts Reynolds low by mistake. And then Uno's distractions cut off with a super kick. And then we do get the double clothesline to a good reaction from the crowd. And the champs retain after 14 minutes. I thought it was a good tag team match.
I liked it more than the Aussie Open one because it felt more
competitive.
Felt more competitive than as such more of a real match.
And that kind of annoyed me because
Aussie Open are better.
Not that I don't like Dark Order. Yeah, but
Open are better.
Aussie Open are better. And why were they made to look like they could barely get a move in?
Yeah. That bothered me.
So I did think it was a good tag match.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I did like seeing Dark Order get some time to shine, though.
Yes, they had
really
some
good.
crisp-looking
like
stuff, I
they
thought.
Hit their signature combo, which I like. And yeah, it was pretty good. It was interesting seeing them in this new kind of heelish manner. that they've been in since the Hangman little story.
I don't mind it.
So I thought that was pretty cool, and I thought the story with MJF's neck and like the return thing was pretty standard, but not in a bad way. Like it was good.
Meltzer gave it 3.25 stars. I don't disagree.
I think that's fair because it's I feel like 3 is like the threshold between like not great and good.
Yeah.
So I think just over that, I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah. So because I will disagree with a couple of his ratings slightly later, but not that one.
Okay.
Then we get a match I was looking forward to that I thought kind of under-delivered, just time was not given, and that was Samoa Joe Shane Taylor.
I thought it over-delivered a little for me just because I didn't expect a ton from this, I guess.
For the ROH TV title, this was. So MJF is kind of getting helped out of the ring still after the last match. Samoa Joe is entering for his match, and Joe like kind of shoulders him on the way by,
which is a callback.
And then
NXT.
Right, and then MJF charges in, and a brawl starts, and then Cole, instead of helping, calls out security, and security finally get in to break everything up, right? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, is Cole letting him get beaten up here, sort of thing? Like, what's going to happen, kind of, I guess. But anyways, this match is a bit of a slugfest, but it only gets just over 6 minutes.
Really? I thought it felt a little longer.
No.
I thought it was kind of cool. There's a lot of like what I would describe as work shoot punches. Yes. Like a lot of
Shane Taylor's great at striking.
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it did have a kind of a slower pace to it, but I did like all the hard looking strikes.
It did. And it's going to have a slower pace with Shane Taylor to some degree. So yeah, you had power slam for 2, more strikes. Taylor on the floor. This,
though, he did the like standing splash at one point, Taylor, and it reminded me of Tyrus, not in a positive way, obviously.
Joe hit the suicide dive elbow that always looks nice.
That. I love the way he does that because it's a marvel he can still do that or has ever been able to do that.
Right.
In his size, especially now, and then also I like how like. And Excalibur always calls it, rightfully so, an elbow suicide. I like how he does it with the forearm because that makes sense to me. And like,
it almost
helps to have like an impact when he hits them.
I agree, and I almost feel like it's safer for him. I don't know why, but I feel like it's more.
I could see what you mean. I don't really know how to explain that, but I kind of see what you could mean there. And yeah, I don't know, because I feel like with suicide dives, like unless you're going really fast, like Escobar, it's like you're just kind of like pushing them, but like coming from I don't know. With the forearm or elbow, whatever we want to call it, I feel like it makes more sense that it's impactful to me.
I do too.
Even though it looks kind of snug, but yeah, it looks good.
We get a hanging stunner, gets a 2 count on
that was kind of cool,
Joe.
Actually. I thought that was nice because he had him like he was trying to get the coquina over the ropes, I think it was, right? So then I thought that was kind of cool, actually.
Middle rope splash, gets another 2 count. Forearm exchange again until Joe pulls him in for the coquina clutch, and he ends up retaining at 6 minutes 23 seconds. Meltzer gave it 2 3/4 stars. I could go 3 probably.
I'd go like 3 1/4 maybe.
Nice.
I'd probably put it on par with the opener.
So it was pretty quick. Not the match I was hoping for, but these guys hit really hard.
I kind of liked it. It was a nice little slugfest, and I honestly didn't really expect much because I honestly didn't care about it. And
people got to see a bit of Taylor, right? Like it wasn't an epic performance.
I think it was a nice taste of Taylor.
I think so. Yes, their strikes. His strikes in particular are awesome, and the crowd gets into it, and they did. The crowd was pretty good all night in this. Too short to be too great, but I thought it was fun while it lasted.
Yep.
Then I thought things picked up here a little bit. We had the TNT title. It's Luchasaurus taking on Darby Allin.
I like this, even though now I'm struggling to remember it.
So that's why I'm glad I take notes sometimes, right? Because same thing, I'll be like, and then go, oh, yeah, that's right.
I feel like I liked it, which is weird.
Darby charges right away after, they fight to the floor. Luchasaurus sends Darby into the steps. Cage demands more violence, so Luchasaurus puts the steps on Allen's back.
Oh, I like that.
And steps on them, right? And then he swings Allen into the steel steps, which always looks good. Spinning slide slam for a 2 count, then a headbutt by Luchasaurus. Darby gets a quick shot, but a springboard crossbody. It just bounces off of Luchasaurus, right? Like he was just jumping into a wall. Then Allen, who'd been wearing rib tapes for this, that gets pulled off. They go outside. Luchasaurus.
I wish Luchasaurus had done the thing that Brock did to Rollins at SummerSlam. When he like picked him up by the rib tape and spun him around.
Ragdolled him.
Luchasaurus totally could have done that, especially with how small Darby is.
Yes, he
totally could have done that.
Luchasaurus ends up getting posted on the outside, and then he's put in a chair for a top rope flip dive from Darby that hits him in the chair.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember that now.
So we get back in the ring a little bit later. I thought it was a really nice counter into a crucifix bomb by Darby for a 2 count. And then he fights back again, dives onto Cage on the outside, followed by a Super Code Red, which looked pretty awesome to Luchasaurus for 2. Coffin drop is ready to go, but Cage hits Nick Wayne with a chair and threatens a concerto on the floor, right? So Darby's a little distracted because his buddy's about to get his head smashed in by some chairs.
No, that's Nick Wayne, not Buddy.
And that's true. That's enough of a distraction, obviously, for Luchasaurus to hit a pair of tombstones and a clothesline to the back of the head.
I was hoping
to
he was
retain.
gonna do like, you know how he does them like in the tombs and he'll like flip them into the face buster.
Yeah.
I was hoping he would do that.
So this one was 12 minutes. I enjoyed this.
I thought it was a really nice.
Wasn't super
David
long.
versus Goliath kind of thing.
Yeah, it was. Exactly.
Or David versus Dinosaur.
You got the big man and the resilient, undersized baby face. It almost always works, and it did here. I liked the finish, like using Christian as well, because he's just pure evil right now.
I like Luchasaurus. I wish Luchasaurus was still a bit more of the dynamic big man that he was. I do understand changing the style to fit more of the heel thing, but I wish he was still like kind of more dynamic like he used to be.
Yeah.
You know?
Because they are now, like, Christian's now going like the most talented big man. So I think that's a way to introduce that stuff again.
Yeah, at least in some capacity. You know, I think it could still work. In a heel capacity, you just kind of got to work it different.
And the finish, I think, somewhat protects Darby because obviously it was a distraction, whatever.
Even though then on Dynamite he decided to kill Nick Wayne anyways.
Right. And I think the decision is to have Luchasaurus retain because Christian is like doing really good work right now and needs that belt.
His TNT champion thing is really amusing.
And Darby doesn't need it, right?
I honestly don't think Luchasaurus has held the title once despite being the actual factual champion. I don't think he's held the belt once.
Right. Meltzer gave it a 3 3/4. I don't disagree.
I'd go
about right 3.5 probably.
I would probably go 3.5. I feel like that's more apropos.
Yep. Then we get another just sort of slugfest, right? A Haas fight. It's Hobbs and Miro in this one.
There it is.
So there was the lightsaber.
I don't like this one. There's a bit of disconnect for me because I really did not care about the build. Like, the build wasn't good.
I really enjoyed the match itself.
I thought the match was pretty solid, but I honestly half paid attention because the build, there was nothing there for me. Especially with Hobbs being involved with QTV so much, I had no vested interest whatsoever.
That's fair.
Miro to me hasn't been anything since he lost the TNT title. I thought like his feud with the House of Black was kind of lame.
Yeah.
And ever since he's come back now, he just really hasn't done anything.
No, the build wasn't great for a few matches.
The
on
appearance
this show.
of a certain female did not entice me either.
That doesn't bother me.
She's horrible.
Anyways, these two brawl right away. Hobbs gets the early advantage. Running clothesline drops Miro, but he knocks Hobbs to the apron. Back in the ring, drop kick puts Hobbs down again, but he pops up for an overhead belly to belly. Hobbs misses a splash in the corner, running flip dive off the apron, sort of like a somersault dive from Miro. Back inside, Hobbs drops him again, and then we get a chin lock. Miro fights back, hits some running knees before firing up even more. Bunch of clothesline takes Hobbs down, but he blocks a suplex, goes up top. Broken up as well. We get a Machka kick, only to have Hobbs plant Miro with a slam for 2. Some more strikes until Miro blocks Hobbs and hits a running clothesline. Game over's applied, but Hobbs manages to break free and hit a spine buster for 2. Hobbs loads up, getting ready to apply his own game over to Miro. Miro fights out, puts him down, grabs the real game over, applies it, and there's no escape this time. And Miro ends up winning 15 minutes, 15 seconds. Post-match, Hobbs turns down a handshake and jumps Miro. And here is CJ Perry, FKA Lana, Miro's real shoot wife, I guess.
Shoot wife.
She has a chair, to chase Hobbs to the back, sort of thing. Distraction lets Miro make the save, but he walks away from Perry, and he's like, "This isn't real." So he's still not expecting his wife to be there, and is not happy that his wife is there.
I don't know what's up with Miro these days.
I think it's because he's forsaken everything, right? Because nothing was working for him. Because I think he even is forsaking his hot, flexible wife or whatever it is.
How do you forsake your wife?
So I don't know, but I think that's what they're going with, right? Like, I didn't want you to be here, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. It felt like a longer version of Taylor Joe a little bit, but I like this one.
I thought it was my favorite part was the crowd just chanting meat.
There was a lot of meat chants.
I thought that was
very
really funny.
Different ways to use meat. Yes,
that was funny.
I thought Hobbs looked really good. I think he could be a big time heel still. Crowd was really into this. I don't know.
I feel like
with the meat
they might have missed their chance with Hobbs. I think they could have given an actually meaningful TNT title run, but I think they could rebuild him. I just think they kind of missed their chance.
Like, the Book of Hobbs stuff was fine, and then they just dropped it and put him in.
They just killed him, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's like unfixable. I'm just saying I feel like they kind of missed their mark here, and it's going to be difficult for them to kind of bring him back, and I don't know if they're really going to try.
So I like this match quite a bit, but I agree that Miro and Hobbs, there's not a lot behind either of them at this point, right?
I think I thought the match itself was pretty solid, but I think it really suffered from just a lack of interest for me and just really any stakes whatsoever.
So I think I liked it more than you, and I can tell you Meltzer liked it more than me. Meltzer gave it 4 1/4.
That's rich.
I would be willing to go
That's
3 3/4.
I'd go 3.5. I
'Cause
think
that's
I think it's on
I
par with
liked
the
it
last
slightly
match.
better than the last one, which I think I did.
I think it's on par with the last
Fair.
one at the very least. I think 4 stars at all is rich.
Then I think we get probably the low point of this show, which unfortunately is the TBS title, and I don't even
Yeah.
think this was bad either.
I don't think it was bad. It's just like I think I did not care still.
Statlander defending against Ruby Soho.
Again, she doesn't have a gimmick. I'm gonna keep complaining
You do
about
say
this
that
until like
every time.
and I feel like more people should be saying that. I mean, people are saying this, and I don't know, but like she doesn't have a gimmick, and I
I
think
mean,
that's a huge issue for
lot
one
of-
of their major champions.
A lot of people don't, but that's the point. Is she's a champion, and you're right.
I feel like she's a major
than not
person,
an
she
alien
doesn't have a
anymore.
gimmick. That's like saying, that's like defending her thing by saying Sky Blue doesn't have a gimmick.
Yeah.
Who cares? It's Sky Blue.
Yes.
I think Statlander needs a gimmick, and especially when she had one before too. And I'm not saying the alien is the greatest thing ever, and I've said this already, but neither's Luchasaurus, and he's making that work. I feel like the alien thing is kind of on par with Luchasaurus. It's something kind of ridiculous, but with fan backing, it could work. Luchasaurus worked with him and Jungle Boy, and I think the alien thing could have worked. Just it wasn't really working, or they didn't try with it, or whatever it was. They gave up on it, and now she has nothing. And I really think, honestly, if she went back with that, I would give it a chance.
And it's too bad. She's good in ring. I
do
enjoy
like her in the
matches.
ring, yeah. If she went back on the alien thing or like some gimmick like that, I would give it a chance. But because she needs something, the more than a woman thing is. Like it's just vague, you know. Like it doesn't. That's not a gimmick. That feels like
Give
more
her
of a
Tony Storm's gimmick.
That feels like that feels more like a tagline for China, less than like not really a gimmick, you know.
Right.
So, anyways, like that's the main issue with Statlander. I feel like it doesn't like hugely affect the match, but it doesn't help. You know what I mean?
No, it doesn't.
You need
help.
a stronger champion than that. And see, we want about Jade getting stale, but she still had a gimmick.
And they spend zero time teaching us anything about Statlander.
No, because Jade always had a gimmick at the very least, even though, let's be honest, her
it never
promos-
evolved, and it was the same.
It was a gimmick, though.
Correct.
It was a character, at the very least.
Yep. So Soho gets run over with a shoulder tackle to start,
And Soho has a bad character. I forgot to mention.
but she has a character.
She
You're
has
right.
one though. That's what I'm saying. You gotta have one.
That's enough to take things outside, where Soho sends Statlander face first into the barricade. Saraya with a cheap shot gets Soho a 2 count.
I really didn't like Saraya's outfit. I thought her pants looked dumb with the title on her. Anyways,
I don't remember.
I just don't like her at the title in general. But I think
That's for sure.
I think the pants don't help.
Statlander hits a clothesline, but ends up taking some more kicks. Strike exchange for a double knockdown before Statlander gains an advantage, unloads in the corner. Running knee rock Soho, but she hits a belly-to-back suplex. Statlander can't get, Sunday Night Fever.
Wednesday night.
Soho rolls her up for 2 instead.
Because I think it's because she's on Dynamite and TBS is on Dynamite. That's my theory behind the name there.
Makes sense. I have no theory. Soho counters a Hurricane Rana into a DDT, followed by a basement
You're no
Rana
fun.
for 2. I'm going to sneeze. Sorry.
I appreciate the warning.
Snuck
You know,
up
that
on
might
me.
be like a headphone warning.
Well,
kind
if
of
I were
thing.
good, because this new thing we have has a mute button, but that was not the direction I was moving. I could have muted it, and it would have been
we
mitigated.
Figure that out.
But what are you going to do?
That'd be interesting.
Yes. Blue Thunderbomb gives Statlander another 2 count, but Soho pulls her off the ropes into a no future. Destination unknown for a near fall, and it's spray paint time. But Tony Storm comes there to sort of take the spray paint away, doing her new film noir character, I guess.
Don't understand it still, but we'll talk about that
Yeah,
later.
we will.
We'll get there.
That allows Statlander to hit the Wednesday Night Fever to retain.
It's like a one leg hook tombstone, basically.
Yeah. She retains after just over 12 minutes.
I thought this was like serviceable.
I thought it was pretty good and one of Soho's better performances,
Yeah.
maybe.
I feel like she's had some lackluster ones lately, so I think having a good one like this helps. So.
And Statlander is, in that division especially, a unique speed and power combination.
Yeah, she just lacks a character, you know. But I do like her in the ring, and I think she's always been good. But it's just the character thing is lacking, obviously. But I think they still worked really well together in this match. I think the finish is fine. It's just
It furthers the
doesn't-
stuff with Outcast, right?
it doesn't help
So-
that I don't care about that.
Right. But hopefully it's like the disintegration of that group,
Yeah.
maybe. But
I think this. I feel like putting this at 3.5 again.
I'd go
thinking-
3 1/4.
I was
And
actually I'll go
Meltzer?
3.25. Yeah, I don't. I think I like the TNT one better than this. I was almost thinking about putting it better, but then I was like, I don't like it more than this.
Meltzer 2.5.
That's harsh.
I thought so too.
I think that's harsh.
Then we go to Bryan Danielson taking on Ricky Starks in a strap match, which I'm on the record as not liking strap matches, but
I think
there's exceptions to every rule.
okay. I'm just trying to think. What do you think is the best between a strap match, a dog collar match, and a bull rope match? I think bull rope is the worst one.
I think dog collar's my least favorite.
I think I disagree because I think the dog collar ones can get decently brutal and they look really cool, like Cody and Brody or MJF and Punk.
But I think by that same token, it limits them a bit.
I don't
because it's around your neck.
But I think they're all limiting. I think the bull rope is limiting. Like I have it here, but like EC3 and Tires just had one, and I think bull rope's lame because you're not gonna hit them with the big rope and the cowbells.
I think it's the lamest.
I think it's the worst one all around, and then I think dog collar's kind of in the middle. I think strap matches are the best one because it's simple, it's at the wrist, and it's just a strap, and like here you can just like whip them with it, you can still choke them with it.
Right.
I would say strap match is the best of the tying someone to someone else matches. If we were to make a comprehensive list of, I think those are the only three. I know there's like variations like a Russian chain match or Samoan, but those are the same thing.
Yes,
like,
basically.
But Dana and Bryan, why? Bryan Danielson, he came out to Final Countdown again.
He did.
Which I was a little disappointed because I was hoping we would be the only
people to get that live.
Yeah. And that was really cool because that was unexpected, but I guess it was cool to see it again. Steamboat
is on commentary. I don't really remember him contributing much.
No, he didn't.
He
didn't. I would honestly rather that than Booker T, though. Say what you want. I thought Stark's entrance was really nice, though. He's got a really nice presentation to him.
He does. Heel Starks is so much better.
It is better. And I was thinking that, I think it was in one of his promos. It might have been the one from this week. He's so much better than that. And I really enjoy his theme. I actually do listen to it sometimes, and I think it's a really great fit for him.
Mm-hmm. It works.
Something about it. It's just it fits him really well. And
it does.
So yeah, we'll say even though we don't watch it all the time, it's nice that Collision at least allows him some spotlight. Although I'd like to see more on Dynamite.
For sure. So heel Starks lets Danielson get strapped in first, right, and then Starks attacks him.
Tactic.
Right. Danielson's bleeding very early in this.
Because he's from Blackpool. He's with Moxley too much.
Throughout this, lots of whipping with the straps.
Oh my God.
And many times, like, right
to
in the
face,
neck or face.
Like, it was honestly, like, some audible reactions sometimes. Because, like, I don't know how you do that. Like, that's just straight up whipping or getting whipped in the face.
Yeah, no matter what material that actually is, I'm sure it has to sting at the very least.
Because the sound is so nice, too.
Yeah, very satisfying.
By nice, I mean, like, bad.
So the whipping continues around the ring, but Danielson is back with a headbutt. Starks backdrops Danielson onto the apron, lays in more strap shots. Back in the ring, Starks gets crotched on the top, and just now it's his turn to get whipped. And Steamboat's kind of pleased with this on commentary, obviously. 3 drop kicks to Starks in the Tree of Woe. But then Starks gets in some more whipping of his own. At one point, Starks spends a bit too long yelling at Steamboat, and Danielson pulls him back into the ring for more whipping. And now Starks is bloody. And back he's the one whipping now. It sounds like it's just a bunch of guys whipping each other, and that was a lot of it, but there is more going on.
There's more going on, yeah.
It just fires up Danielson. He starts yelling at Starks. Yes, kicks land really hard. And then this is where Big Bill shows up.
And kicking him hard. Yeah, because he was getting managed by Starks back when he was suspended for a bit.
Right. Steamboat then gets up and pulls Big Bill off the apron, I think it was, and chops him, but then gets shoved down.
I'm telling you, old retired wrestlers are the biggest threat to large men.
They are
large able-bodied men. Like Brian Cage fears Sting eternally.
Most of them do. Most of these guys in their prime of life fear Sting.
I'm pretty sure Hobbs probably got either. He definitely got chunked by Sting in the Team Taz days. Yeah. So there's that, and then I'm almost positive he probably got spine busted by Arn Anderson in the Wardlow feud. I'm almost positive.
Could be.
I can almost guarantee.
I believe you. Danielson dives onto both heels, only to have Starks hit a spear for a 2 count. Running knee drop.
This spear. Did we get it? We didn't get a Rochambeau, I don't think.
No, he attempted it a couple times.
I really like the Rochambeau.
It's cool.
Nice.
The Busaiku knee, I think. Oh, no, it was a running knee drop. Danielson kicks him into the label lock. strap around Stark's neck. Stark passes out, right?
That was an epic visual.
Does not looked good. He looked
That was
really
awesome.
believable passing out.
I really like that.
Just about
Nice feather in his cap too. Didn't tap.
Right, 16 and a half minutes, which is rare. And for the heel, it's a little different, right? So it's kind of interesting.
But still, I think it's a nice kind of tough guy thing.
I thought this match was awesome, and I don't
really
love
liked
strap matches. At this point to the show, it was my favorite match, right?
At
and
this point, yes.
Liked everything, and I thought this was excellent.
Yeah, I thought this was really good. The brutality was really nice on display here. And like just the repeat whipping was insane. Just especially to like the facial area or anywhere around that.
Just
That's
up high
really crazy.
lot.
Yeah, and just the sound of it was really nice. But I thought there was like some good wrestling in there too. They didn't let the strap limit them too much, right? I feel like the strap was like an added thing in the match and not restriction like it can be sometimes.
And I'm going to give Danielson a lot of credit for this, and I'm sure Starks deserves some too, but despite this just being made and being kind of randomly made, right, it felt somehow intense and like...
felt way more important than the Joe Taylor or Hobbs Miro or the TBS
And there was
match.
Virtually no build to this. It was Ricky
literally
going,
one day.
I've got another dragon, and it's this guy who you don't even think's ready to come back.
Yeah, but
I
thought
somehow...
this was really good.
I think I'm going to say Danielson's storytelling, whatever it is, maybe both of them, but probably more him.
Yeah.
It's just like you believe it, right?
Yeah, and I thought, the stakes, or not the stakes, but like the drama of this match was, I think it was because of the brutality of it, and I think it worked really well. I thought these guys worked really well together.
Stark stepped up his game.
Starks
for sure.
was on another level here compared to how he was before, and I think this helps elevate him a little more, and this is one of those matches that I think he can look back on as like a major moment for him.
Meltzer,
and I think that was great.
Meltzer gave it 5 stars. I'm not quite that high.
I'd give it.
I could go 4.5. No problem.
I go 4.5. Yeah.
Yep.
I
really don't give out a lot of 5 stars because I just like, where do you go from there?
I think well, then you obviously the answer is you go above 5 stars,
which I don't want to do because then that's not your system.
I'll do it because Omega Ospreay.
So then we get tag team match: Eddie Kingston, Shibata, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta.
This one was another one kind of like that just felt random to me.
Yeah, I
other
agree.
than Kingston and Claudio, I do feel like there's like something there, but
there is now.
The addition of Shibata is weird.
I agree. Shibata takes Yuta down to start, goes after his arm, sending Yuta over the rope. Claudio comes in to lock up with Shibata before Kingston comes in. Things go outside. Yuta hits a suicide dive. Claudio sends Kingston into the barricade. Back in the ring, Yuta has both of Kingston's arms. Kingston fights back and hits an STO. Shibata comes in with strikes in the corner, but he gets dropped by Claudio. Fastball special, which is basically a rocket launcher, I believe.
Yeah, it's like Claudio just kind of helps chuck him into a diving splash.
Gives Yuta a 2 count, but Shibata strikes his way out of trouble. We get a death lock to Yuta and an ankle lock to Castagnoli at the same time. That has to be broken up. Everything breaks down at one point here. Shibata kicks Yuta into a Saito suplex to give Kingston a 2 count. I thought was kind of cool. Kingston and Claudio strike it out until the neutralizer gives Claudio a near fall. Ricola bombs escaped. Kingston hits his spinning back fist. And Northern Lights bomb gets 2. Shibata chokes Yuta out. Claudio hits an uppercut to finish Eddie Kingston just
smashed him with an uppercut.
At about 15 and a half minutes. And I don't know what it was, but I struggled to get into this one for some reason. And I like everybody in this match.
I feel like it's the randomness. I do like everyone too, and especially having recently enjoyed Shibata. But I agree. Great. Just like I feel like this just kind of felt thrown together, despite like there being some storyline reason for this.
Agree. And
it just felt kind of cobbled a little.
And it's weird because Danielson, we just said, had no build, and it felt like there was. And this one kind of felt...
This one just like, I feel like if it had kicked into a higher gear, maybe we'd be speaking differently. But I feel like it didn't quite hit that level for me.
The finish kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah. It was kind of lacking something to like elevate it a little more.
But I guess it furthers like Claudio's dominance over Eddie sort of thing. And
yeah, I'm fine with it from that perspective. Yeah.
And maybe there's a bit of Blackpool fatigue setting in. I'm not sure, or just not enough of seeing Shibata to have this feel meaningful as part of it. I think
feel like Blackpool work when they're all on one target, and I feel like they're a little scattered right now. I feel like because I really love their thing with the Elite because Elite storylines when they're at the forefront are amazing. Say what you want about them, but there's the storylines where they're at the main focal. They're the main focal point. Those are amazing. But I feel like also because it was like Blackpool were just like bullies left and right, and they were all targeting they were outnumbering them and ambushing people backstage. I thought that was awesome. I think heel bully Blackpool is still a great thing, and I think it's something they can use to great effect. I think it's just right now, it's just a little disorganized. Like Mox is doing international title things.
Right.
Claudio and Yuta are on Eddie, but then Danielson
is
kind
of
babyface now, but then he came out after the main event, so like
they're not unified right now.
Yeah, which I want them to be, and I hope Danielson turns back, because I feel like we were robbed of a great summer heel Danielson run. With the
I agree.
injury.
I wanted that.
Yeah, I think they should still do that.
So Meltzer, man, we don't agree with him on a few things. He gave this 4.25.
No, I would go.
I'm a full star below, man. If you said 3 to me, I'll go 3.25.
I'll go 3.25.
Maybe it's me, but
it underdelivered.
Agree
for sure.
Did not underdeliver. Kenny Omega,
my most anticipated match.
Konosuke Takeshita,
our boy.
Early on and I have caps lock in the middle of this. Takeshita drops Omega on his head with a belly to back suplex.
Oh yeah, like he had like a side of suplex and he dropped him high,
really high.
Omega should have the worst concussion and or neck issues of any human being on the planet.
Neck of granite.
Because he's got the anti-Miro neck. Because he took this high ass back suplex, and then he's also taken like insanely high cutters from Phoenix in the series.
And then we may have mentioned before,
and the Tiger Driver 91 from Forbidden Door, and I'm sure German suplexes too. Like, he takes some absurdly high bumps without any injury, at least that we know of. So it's pretty insane. I also really enjoyed Kenny's gear, a nod to his pre-Bullet Club days in the green, and I really liked that. I thought it looked a lot nicer. It came across really nice on the long tights now that he's moved away from the trunks.
Yep. Omega recovers, hits a Regal roll. I imagine that was...
I don't know what that is.
Me either. I imagine that's Excalibur telling me. And to a moonsault off the barricade.
Oh, the fireman's carry, the rolling senton. You know, like...
Oh, yeah.
You can't escape.
Yes.
Then it was that. Okay, no, I got it. Thank you. That's
helpful. On the floor, awesome-looking brainbuster from Takeshita.
Oh, that thud was... nasty.
So Callis piles some chairs on top of Omega's face, right on the floor there, and Takeshita does like a slingshot dive onto the chairs onto Omega, which was cool. And then, because what was it, trained by El Generico, so he hits a haluva kick and a blue thunder bomb for a near fall as well.
I think that's what it was.
There was some connection with Takeshita and El Generico. I think that's what they said. I forget.
They did mention it.
Omega fights back with axe handles to the chest. Missed running knee sends Takeshita outside. Dive onto Takeshita on the floor, followed by a missile drop kick to the back of his head. Snapdragons, Poison Rana give Omega a 2 count, but Takeshita hits that a stiff lariat for 2 of his own. Takeshita...
Did we mention the Takeshita line?
Not yet.
Counters already.
He counters something into a kneeling tombstone for 2. More strikes. A super one-winged angel attempted but blocked. Takeshita hits a super blue thunder bomb.
That was awesome.
For a very nice near fall. Omega hits a V-trigger, but Takeshita finds the screwdriver that Callis had tried to stab Omega with, right?
And missed it. It was stuck in the apron.
Cool. So the screwdriver's taken away by the ref. Takeshita hits a running knee for 2. Then just another vicious knee. And he pins Kenny Omega somewhat cleanly.
I think there's the third one with the exposed. I would say it's virtually clean win.
22.5 minutes. My notes didn't do this justice because
I thought this was awesome.
I got captivated and caught up in this. It was fantastic.
I think one thing
best match on the show
glossed over was that Takeshita line they call it, the jumping clothesline. It's a mind trip every time. I love he gets great speed
like,
on it.
He's not gonna get there every time.
He gets great speed on it, and then he once he's hit the ropes a couple times, he jumps basically from the ropes to the middle of the ring. Yeah, to hit the jump. It's crazy how he does that. I love it so much. But and he hits some gnarly forearms. That back suplex was crazy. The brainbuster on the outside was nuts. The avalanche with thunder bomb, and you just kept drilling Omega at the end until he stayed down, which I thought was really cool. But I'm super happy for him.
Me too. I didn't pick it. Man.
I didn't pick it, but I'm super happy for Takeshita getting a virtually clean win. Was there attempted cheating? Sure, but did he actually cheat? No. So I'll count it as a clean win for Takeshita. I'm super happy for him. I thought this was great. I loved it very much.
Me too. Great match of the night.
It was definitely my match of the night. Yeah, it delivered, and I don't know. I just really liked it. It delivered on what I wanted it to be, and I did like I didn't think he would win, but I did want Takeshita to win, so I'm really
It's an
happy
awesome
he
win
did.
for him.
That's a great win for him, and I believe his first pay-per-view singles match, and that is a nice win.
That is, just the style of both of them. I love it.
It
right?
works super well. It's definitely what I like to see.
Steady pace, brutal knees, and like I didn't mention any of the elbows or forearms or whatever, but Takeshita's are crazy.
He hits some crazy ones, yeah.
And then other cool looking offensive stuff from each of them, right? So a huge win for Takeshita.
The push of Takeshita is definitely on the rise because I don't think he had any pay-per-view appearances last year, but this year he had like his first one was I think his first pay-per-view match was the Forbidden Door, which we were there, which was a great multi-man match, and then he had his first pay-per-view win, which was an All-In, which is pretty crazy, and then this, which was awesome.
He just keeps passing every test they put in front of him, right?
Yeah,
and that's what we were hoping for.
I think he's succeeding on every metric so far, and I really hope this means some good things for him because he's definitely someone they could build in the future. I think he could be like a future kind of pillar for them, like especially with Callis.
Putting him with Callis is very smart.
Great, yeah. I hope whatever their next feud is, if it's not continuing with Kenny, I hope it is something great because I really hope they just keep going like from strength to strength with him because this was really good.
Meltzer gave it 5 stars. I would go 4 3/4.
4 3/4. I'm really close to a 5-star.
Same.
I'm tempted, but
it was excellent.
I'll stay off. Yeah, I really liked it. It made my short list. I might nominate it.
Did you add it to the list already?
I did. It did. It does make my short list or not so short list, depending on what you want to call it.
Awesome. Next, we get an 8-man tag match, right? It is Bullet Club Gold, FTR Young Bucks.
Bullet Club Gold's entrance was awesome. I've watched it like a couple times now. It's so good. They borrowed from the new entrance that the Guns have used, where they have like the spine and do like the water. They spit the water with the finger guns, which it looked really cool. JY did, and like I love that they spin around and Juice is just making like an insane because Juice is just a madman.
He brings the energy, that boy.
Yeah, but I thought their entrance was awesome and made them look big time. My one complaint is I think they need a group theme. I just don't think Jay White's theme cuts it. I don't personally love it as a theme, but I think it works for Jay White. Just the sound of it, it's like
I like the Guns theme.
I do like the Guns, yeah, but I would like to keep that for them, obviously. But I feel like Jay White's, it's got like this like cool, like it fits his character very well, is what I'm trying to say. But I feel like Bullet Club Gold needs a group theme, and you could maybe I don't know if I'd rip off the main Bullet Club theme, but something with like that kind of guitar in there, something like that, or like kind of like the Super Elite theme that they used for a little bit. That theme's really good.
Something.
Yeah, I don't know. They need a group theme because I think Jay White's theme should be his own.
Yeah. First few minutes of this, a lot of people hitting moves and tagging so that everybody kind of got in within the first
Also, I think
little bit.
FTR's logo on their trunks is Bray Wyatt inspired.
It did look like that.
It looked like his logo from his recent run was like that upside down moth kind of thing. It looked like that.
Theme music and ring gear, 2 of your specialties discussed right here. So Bullet Club isolate Dax in their corner for a bit.
That reminds me. The entrance stage was awesome.
Yes. Cash tags in. Then White isolates Cash with a drop kick to the left knee. Standoff with all 8 in the ring leading to a brawl. Quadruple atomic drop spot by the baby faces. And then all 4 of them apply sharpshooters at the same time.
Yeah.
I don't even remember that happening.
I do remember the sharpshooters. I don't mind stuff like that sometimes, but I don't love the tandem spots when it's like this many people. That just feels like a little
contrived.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't mind like a mass brawl with everyone in there, but I don't like when it boils down to like this synchronized swimming kind of stuff.
Juice sends Dax into the ring post and Bullet Club take over. They work over Dax for a few minutes until Nick gets the tag and does his high octane.
He doesn't do the kick thing.
He did not. Then Matt comes in so the Bucks can do a bit of double teaming. At one point, Cash is legal and Matt nearly super kicked him, but Colton moved and there were double super kicks while Cash hit a DDT. Nick with a face buster and a moonsault that he didn't really hit Juice, but Juice sold it anyways.
Oh yeah, he like moonsaulted behind him.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Over him basically. Dax and Matt hit a spike pile driver on Austin Gunn for 2. All 8 guys are in the ring. Dax hits a superplex on Austin, while Cash, Matt, and Nick all hit top rope splashes with Nick doing a 450. Some running strikes outside the ring. Matt hits a cross body block on Colton on the floor. Dax and Austin do a double clothesline. Both are down. Dax and White do a chop fest a little bit later. Juice stops the Shatter Machine attempt by FTR, but Nick went into the ring and did the Shatter Machine with Dax instead, right? So a combination that Like, and that was kind of the story here is could they kind of work together, these two tag
Can they
teams,
coexist?
these two rivals, right? Matt and Dax then hit a BTE trigger on Jay White for 2, with Colton making the save. Colton hits a famouser to Matt on the floor to take him out. Cash gets tagged in. Juice stops the Shatter Machine attempt again. Colton tags Jay White's back to become the legal man, blind tag. Jay hit the Blade Runner on Cash, who was legal on that side apparently. Colton ends up covering Cash, and the heels win here after
Gold, baby.
21 and a half minutes.
Top shelf gunslingers.
I thought it was a very good 8-man tag with like the usual AEW chaos and let ref loses control.
Yeah, they know how to work a good multi-man.
And I liked it was kind of the story of like a cohesive unit of 4 taking on a team that's
2 teams.
2 teams who generally are rivals, not necessarily on the same page, right?
Yeah.
And that's enough to sort of
I like that
through.
dynamic of it. And the mix mash tag finishers from the faces was a solid kind of thread to have in there. And can they coexist is kind of a lame trope, but I think it works fine here.
It can work.
And I'm very happy with the Blow Club Gold win here. I think that's nice.
Colton getting the pin is kind of big for him
Colton's
too.
Good. That's good for him too. I like that.
Yeah.
But just in general, I'm happy for them getting a win because they are a nice, cohesive unit and they deserve some spotlight here. And so I think between this and kind of getting that win at All In with Takeshita, I think they're going from strength to strength as well. They're another act that I really enjoy, and I hope we can get something for them because Jay White needs to kind of elevate because he's too good to be kind of kept away. Although I do think Blow Club Gold's a great thing for him, and I'm really glad they did end up putting the guns in this group because
Me too. They fit well.
I think the way all those characters act, I think it's a great combination. I think Juice and Switch were awesome together, and I think the guns perfectly complement them.
And I love you have the main eventer, the mid card, and a tag team.
Yeah,
upper mid card if you want Juice.
Yeah, I think it works perfectly. But yeah, I'm really happy they got the win here. I think it's the right call because I don't think Bucks and FTR are really
not in that dynamic. No, they don't need that win at all because they have a built-in we're not a team.
Yeah, they didn't need that win at all. So I'm really happy that they had the right result here. I'd probably give it
guaranteed. Meltzer's going higher than you and me. I was saying 3 3/4.
That's what I was thinking too. I was between that and 3.5. I'll go 3 3/4.
Meltzer said 4.5.
No. I'm sorry.
He feels generous on this, eh?
Yeah.
But then harsh to the women is basically what it's been.
Yeah, that's a little excessive for me, even though I like it a lot.
Me too. Then we get the main event. It is the International Championship match between Jon Moxley challenging Orange Cassidy with his amazing title reign.
Probably, at least from ones that I've genuinely experienced, obviously, not talking about any retrospectives or what happened before I was born.
Yeah,
probably one of my favorite title reigns of all time that
been fantastic.
That I've borne witness to. Probably up there with Iko, Bryan, and Adam Cole's run in NXT.
So Cassidy gets hit in the head right away to start. Drop kick from Cassidy sort of to turn the tide a little bit, but then Moxley suplexes him. Flipping stunners countered into an X-plex by Mox. Outside, Moxley posts Cassidy, and Cassidy bleeds before Mox. How about that?
That is crazy. He bled a lot in this one, too.
He did. Moxley sends him over the announcer's table and then bites Cassidy's head, probably on the wound, I would assume.
Just to taste that blood, of course.
Mox piledriver gets a 2 count. Cassidy with some DDTs, as he does, but the beach break ends up getting blocked. Cassidy hits a penalty kick into an orange punch for 2, but Moxley pulls him into a chokehold. After reversal, Moxley pulls Cassidy into kind of like a label lock. That gets broken up. They head outside. Moxley pulls back the mats to expose the concrete floor. Cassidy, of course, reverses things into a beach break on the concrete. They barely get back in to beat the count. Cassidy hits an orange punch and a spear for 2. Cassidy goes with the lazy kicks, but he gets intense and they turn into actual real kicks. But then he ends up getting absolutely flattened by a King Kong lariat. Cassidy then pops back up, so it's another King Kong lariat into the Death Rider for a very close 2 count. Then another Death Rider, and it is over. Moxley's the new champion in just under 20 minutes. Thought it was an excellent main event.
I thought it was really good.
Good end to Cassidy's run, but like you, even though Mox is one of your favorite wrestlers, you're kind of like
Mox is probably my favorite.
Wish this could continue.
I can't help but feel disappointed.
A little bit,
and
right?
I love Moxley, but that's just the case.
And I really like this match, but I can't help but it kind of feels like Cassidy successfully defends against every second and third tier talent along the way, and then as soon as he's facing like a main event dude, a pillar, he loses. So it doesn't take away from his run at all, but there is a little bit of that, I guess, right? But
I
still
was thinking
great.
it kind of. I really love the match. I feel like him losing kind of took away from the match a little for me, just because I don't know. It's really. I keep saying it's just really weird because Moxley's just genuinely been. He's been my favorite since pretty much I started watching. Like,
And I wasn't an Orange Cassidy
I've always
guy
loved.
to start.
I always kind of enjoyed Orange Cassidy, but in like a serious capacity, I never like loved him. But I've genuinely come to love this title run that he's had. I thought it's awesome. It's produced some of my favorite TV matches of the year. Like that Fletcher one was always like one of those. That'll be one of those random matches I always remember. Like kind of like Tyler Rust's debut. That's always one of those ones I'll just kind of be like, oh yeah, I remember that was awesome. Or like he's had so many great ones. A variety of opponents, and I think the storyline of him competing every week and racking up injuries and everything.
Yeah.
There's the Forbidden Door match that we saw. Like, I don't know. It's a really great run, and I'm glad we did get to experience it at least. I think it'll be something to look back on fondly, and I think it's definitely one of the highlights of the year.
And I just thought there was a ceiling on the Orange Cassidy character, and he just smashed that.
I think
right?
if
like he was like, no, dude, I can be the biggest baby face in a huge company, basically.
I think if the Jericho feud in 2020 was them like testing him at the top, I think this was them like successfully making him a star, because I think his run was really awesome, and just to the point where I didn't want my favorite guy to win. Like even if it was him or Hangman or Adam, I probably would still want Cassidy to win, and I really did, because not only just because I want this run to continue for as long as possible, but I was really hoping for it to elevate someone new. Like I love Moxley, he's awesome, but that's kind of the point. He's a made man.
He is.
So I never thought he needed the title.
He does not.
And I thought, like, I don't know, Cassidy just really did a great job with that. He made the title as much as the title reign made him. I feel like, because I think he did a good job elevating that title, because that title does feel like something now.
It does.
Because he elevated it, and I think it also made him uber popular. And weirdly, it's weird to say that Orange Cassidy's even in the conversation for Wrestler of the Year,
but he is.
It brought him honestly as the front runner at one point.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
We're in September, right? And he had an amazing run here. So very happy.
I remember we were both disappointed when we watched him win the title.
Yeah,
I honestly forget that we watched him win the title. I remember us both being disappointed.
Yeah.
And looking back, I think it turned out for the best, because Pac's reign, he was gone for most of it, right?
Yeah.
And I think,
and he's not gonna have a better reign than this. It's pretty hard to do.
I think I do remember the initial approach to the Atlantic title or the international title, whatever you want to call it, right? And I do think that was an interesting approach, having it like being a traveling title, but I think that's kind of dumb, because it's an AEW title at the end of the day, so I think it should be an AEW. I think Cassidy's approach to it was awesome, defending it constantly, defending on TV and against international opponents if you want to. You had like Fletcher, Garcia, and like all these different people. And then also
weave in the story of him accumulating injuries.
Right, and I thought that was
week.
Really awesome.
Yeah.
And I feel like with Moxley, and I'll talk about it on Dynamite, like he's gonna have good matches too, but it's just not the same.
Right.
And I feel like I'm gonna go through a withdrawal period, right? Because
there'll be an adjustment.
I'm gonna miss this. It was a really awesome thing to have, like basically every week. I think even when the trios matches left us, Cassidy didn't.
Yep.
So honestly, salute to AEW and Orange Cassidy, because it was truly an epic run, and for Cassidy to do something like that is crazy. I think the match was really awesome too. It brought out a different side of him. I thought he looked awesome, covered in blood and whatever.
Yeah.
And he went out strong, though. I think Moxley did have to kind of kill him to get the win, which at least I can respect that. But I'm always going to miss that title run. I could just go on forever, because it was truly something amazing, and it's crazy how well it turned out. I think it went better than it had any right to be. But,
it was a good run while it lasted.
I'm going to miss it, and he did good.
Overall, ended up being a really good show.
I thought it was a better show than it had any right to be, considering it was like, because I was very much of the opinion that this was like kind of lackluster, because it's on the heels of All In.
Yeah, which was awesome.
Yeah. And I don't think it's ever going to touch All In, but I think it was as good as it could have been.
So like Omega Takeshita was awesome in my match of the night. The strap match was awesome. So that's two, I thought, awesome matches. I enjoyed Luchasaurus quite a bit, Miro Hobbs quite a bit. I don't think anything was bad on the show. A lot of things over-delivered.
I think at worst you had like something like lackluster under-delivering, but nothing bad. Right?
Not quite the level of All In, but not far behind. So if All In was an A-, This is a B plus. And over delivered. Like we were like, this feels like a lot of leftovers and
it felt as
stuff,
secondary as an AEW pay-per-view has ever felt.
but really
you know?
some really good stuff on the show. So I went B plus.
Agreed. I think like I went in this feeling like it was extremely secondary because I thought like it did All Out a huge disservice to go right after All In, and I felt like that kind of made it feel like incredibly secondary.
Yeah.
However, I think they really made the best of this. I thought a lot of the matches were really good. I thought Omega Takeshita was awesome, and I love that. I would love to rewatch it at some point. I thought the strap match was great for a stipulation that we don't typically enjoy, but I really enjoyed that, and I think Brian is really good in those matches because I remember liking the one with the Fiend too. Rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought the main event was awesome too. I'll always be disappointed in that result, but it was still a great match, and at least we can always remember that run as something very nice. I thought like the first two matches were pretty solid, and like at worst the TBS match was like good, and like or the Blackpool tag was underwhelming. Like at worst you had things that kind of under delivering, but nothing was bad.
Nope.
And for something that kind of felt like a major B show compared to like the A show of All In, I'm not saying like grade wise, but you know how like Raw and SmackDown, that kind of thing.
Yep.
I think it turned out really good though, so I would also give it a B plus. I think it over delivered just on the back of a huge show. I think it lived up to what it should be as a pay-per-view.
Yeah, AEW delivers again on pay-per-view, almost never disappoints.
Yeah. With All Out being one of the original ones, I was worried it would be kind of thrown under the bus here, but I think it turned out good.
No, and I think they're going to keep doing this year after year with one show after the other. As long as they
build it a little better next time and like put on or line up a decent card like they did here, I think they could pull it off again.
Yep. All right, well, let's shift from the AEW's pay-per-view into AEW's weekly show, and well, one of the weekly shows, the one that we watch, and that is Wednesday Night Dynamite. All right, talk about some Dynamite.
I guess hot off the heels of what we were just talking about, we first hear from Orange Cassidy.
Right.
He comes out, and we get a bunch of thank you Orange chants, which is earned, I feel like.
Yeah, we did for quite a while. He had to sort of stand and wait for the crowd.
Normally I wouldn't, but I feel like it's earned. Like I said, I very much loved this run. It was.
Did you?
It was something to behold. Like it was honestly, as the saying goes, it would not be on my 2023 bingo card, you know?
Right.
Especially not when he won the title. Cassidy says thank you to the fans. He says he was told to stay home, but he's like, nah, I'm not going to do that. He didn't wrestle, though, which kind of sucks. I would have liked a Cassidy match just for old time's sake. I say that as he, like, wrestled last week. I'm weird. Oh, the cat's down here.
Yep.
Or you can hear at least. He says, title or no title, he will be here every week because he is freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, and he does not have a catchphrase.
He does not. I thought it was a nice moment to bring him out to start the show to let the fans show their appreciation for him, right? That was, I thought, a really classy
I think it was
move.
a nice earned moment for him.
And also just to sort of help people who are like, oh man, I hope he's not backburnered now, by going like, no, champion or not, I'm still here every week. So like people like, okay, breathe a sigh of relief. You've really gotten into Orange Cassidy, or you already were, and he'll still be around. And then they have, I don't know if you mentioned it, but they do that with Mox's music bleeds into the segment, which was, I thought, interesting too, because NXT's experimented with doing this from time to time. And when
they did used to do that.
They can do it well sometimes. Sometimes I feel it's too much, but at times it can really add a little something or start a little something or breadcrumb something
Joe
for
and
later.
MJF, at least.
Right. So, yeah, I thought this was a very classy way to start the show.
Just thinking about it when you were talking about Cassidy sticking around, I was thinking, and hear me out, I say, like, in the not-too-distant future, we give Best Friends the Trios titles.
Good.
I think it would be a perfect time to do it because I think it would keep Cassidy hot on TV and give us our Trios Open challenges back. And I think finally give Best Friends some love because I don't think they're getting the tag titles anytime soon, but I think like you got to give Best Friends their flowers, you know what I mean? So
but I think at some point you and I need to adjust our expectations of the Trios championships. How many times are we going to be like, because they just don't seem to use it. We wanted the belt so badly.
I still think they could though.
They can, but they don't
know.
seem to.
But that's what I'm saying. I think the best friends would be the perfect way to do that, because I think Cassidy could adopt that mentality he had with the international title again, and then I think you could also use it to benefit the best friends, because let's be honest, aside from the couple recent victories, they are largely on the back burner in light of Cassidy's success. So I feel like them having the trio stars would be really cool. And I would hope they could do that. Honestly, I think that's 1,000 times better than the Acclaim, because I'm gonna be honest, and it's a bit of a hot take, I don't care too much about the Acclaim anymore.
Don't either right now.
I know they're still kind of hot, and I love that for them, and I respect that, but I don't personally care a lot.
But I almost feel like at this point, the trios titles, I see the trios champions less than I see best friends right now. So it would almost be like having the trios titles will lower their profile right now.
I feel like,
which is unfortunate.
I feel like you could use that to elevate both, though.
You could, but
and I'm just saying, I think it's something for best friends, because I think they're a quality tag team. They've been going for so long without getting anything. And I think that's what you can give them. And also, I want something for Cassie. I think I like Cassie a lot more after this run. But yeah, I'm still sad he lost the title, but which deserves big props, because I love Moxley too. But I'm gonna miss it every week. Anyways, yeah, this was a nice moment for him. Nice thing for AEW to do, because he definitely deserves some applause from the fans for all that work he put in. Because like I said, it was banger after banger after banger.
Yes.
And yes, we bleed into our first match of the night, which is Jon Moxley's first defense of the title that belongs to Orange Cassidy, and now it's not in a backpack. He's defending against A.R. Fox, who's now nice again.
Mox and Fox.
I just wrote international title match and no Cassie in sight. It feels kind of wrong.
Oh my goodness, man.
Move on. It's gonna. I feel this is the Cassie withdrawal period. It's gonna be weird, right?
Apparently. For you, it seems, yeah.
I don't know what you're on, but it was something.
It was something.
I didn't know much from this, but because I was trying to watch it, but there's a few things that Fox hit a tope con heel, which looked pretty nice. He had a super kick and a neck breaker. There was a roll through cutter for 2, which was cool because he rolled Mox with him. Mm-hmm. Fox connects with an enziguri, then runs the ropes, but he got caught with a King Kong Larry from Mox, and we got a Death Rider for the win. Darby came out to support Fox, and on the screen we saw Christian Luchasaurus approach Nick Wayne backstage. Cage asked if he was expecting someone else, and he says he's a fine boy, which is a weird turn of phrase. And he says he decided to watch some Buddy Wayne footage. I don't even know where Buddy Wayne would have wrestled, because he doesn't sound like he was a big star or anything.
No.
And Christian says he was even worse than he thought he was. He says he knows Nick thinks Darby is the guy for his mentor, but if he really wants a good one, he should look to a champion. Of course, referring to himself. And then on his way, he tells Nick to say hi to his mom for him, which is
yes,
devious. I thought it was a short but solid opener. It was nice to see Fox get some time to shine again. He's also entertaining in the ring, although I still think there's missed potential with him in the Mogul Embassy. I still think that was really cool, and
it ended too fast for sure.
It ended too fast,
very, very suddenly.
Yeah, it didn't really connect for me. I'm still a little bothered that it didn't, because I thought it was really good, especially that one segment. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But I love Moxley. He's stellar as always. He's finished as brutally per usual. It was great and all. It won't hit the same as Cassie's matches, because there was always that in-ring story, like you were saying, with the injuries, and he would always eke out a win, and it's like his opponents get to look and but then he ekes out a win anyways. But with Mox, I feel like Fox still gets to look decently good, but Mox is always gonna have to overpower them in the end and just kind of come out. It's not gonna hit the same. I feel like Cassie's shtick really worked for an open challenge, and that's not to say Mox won't work. I feel like he will still have some great matches. I'm sure he will, because let's be honest, Moxley is amazing, but it's not gonna hit the same. But I still loved it. Just not loved it, but I liked it. Just not fully feeling it yet,
Yeah, I thought this was a good match, steady pace, good physicality from Mox, and then Fox has really cool looking offense every week, right? So outcomes never in doubt, which is going to be the case pretty much for most of Mox's reign. It's just something.
To be fair, that was the case with Cassidy as well.
Correct. I enjoyed the match. Still weird, like you said, to see someone other than Cassidy defending, but The only issue I had here is why would Wayne and Alan watch from backstage and not be at ringside when Claudio's there? You know what I
Was
mean?
Claudio there? I don't remember.
Yes, and then they separate.
I guess he didn't do anything, but still, like the threat of it, right?
And then they separate after the match so that Nick Wayne's alone, and like, you know what I mean? It's just some stupid babyface stuff that plagues wrestling that I hope people can avoid, but
Yeah,
they don't.
that's fair.
But the match itself, I liked it.
I did like that backstage bit with Wayne and Christian.
Yeah, it was funny.
It was pretty solid as well. Heel Christian actually serves a purpose on like his babyface days, which is a weird thing to say because obviously that's a while ago now. But
he's great
Christian's
in this role.
so much better now. I'm so glad they made this decision because babyface Christian Cage sucked. He was so boring and I hated it.
And really venomous Christian Cage is
he's
hilarious.
So good. He's so good. Always some amusement to be found with him, and I think he's interesting. He was like trying to poach Wayne. I don't know if he's serious about it, but
yeah,
it was still interesting anyways. And also with the way Moxley holds the international title, it made me notice how similarly shaped it is to the AEW title.
Yeah,
it's very similar, but that almost makes me like it more because the AEW title is gorgeous, and so I think the international title is a very beautiful belt indeed.
Yeah, this is the Christian we enjoy, right? Like he's talking trash, carrying a belt that's not his, like has to correct himself because he refers to it as his and ours, right?
Yeah.
And has a silent monster to fight all his battles for him. It's perfect for him.
It's a great shtick.
And the good thing is, like, his opponents have to be willing to take some really personal shots, and they have been so far, and that's really good.
Could you imagine him with CM Punk?
No,
that would be so funny.
And I think what long term, I think this sets up a huge babyface turn for Luchasaurus somewhere down the line, right? Because obviously he's going to mistreat Luchasaurus, and Luchasaurus being silent, the fans are really going to get behind him, and like way down the road, you can have that happen. And
I wonder then what Luchasaurus can do on his own as a babyface, because obviously, like with Jack Perry doing Jack Perry things, I don't know if we go back to Jungle Boy ever.
I don't know either.
Because I'm gonna miss Jurassic Express. I feel like they had an okay title run, but I don't know. I'm kind of missing them now to think about it, but I do think a Luchasaurus face turn could be in the cards, and I do think it'd be really interesting.
Yep.
Kind of like a Batista thing, but obviously not.
No.
On that level, because obviously it's very different, but it's also kind of similar. If do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
But yeah, I think that could be in the cards. Yeah. Just because Christian's an unbearable douchebag.
He is. In the best way possible.
We love it.
Yep.
We love it. And Mr. Turtleneck.
That's right.
Kind of love it. Next we get Chris Statlander defending the TBS Championship against Emi Sakura.
Mystery partner or mystery opponent though, kinda.
No,
not really.
I knew already.
It
was advertised. It's one of those things where it's an open challenge where they've already told you who it is. So I don't know. I feel like that's. I don't know. I guess that still works as an open challenge, but just
it does.
The way AEW does it to me, it just doesn't work. Cause I feel like WWE, they would always like. I feel like when they announce it before, they've always like make up some BS about social media. This, it's like I don't know. There's just some disconnect for me. I wish it was kind of an open challenge. That would be kind of nice, but. Anyways, technically the opener was one as well, which again I knew about.
True.
But I thought back-to-back open challenges was an odd choice.
Yep, I didn't really think about it, to be honest, but you're right.
At least it's a different slot for the women, though. I thought that was also weird, but not in a bad way, because at least it's kind of switching it up. Also, when will we figure out what Statlander's gimmick is? Still have no clue.
Yes.
Notables, there was a roll-up for 2 from Sakura, but then she went right into a Tiger Bomb for another 2 count early on, which I thought was pretty nice.
She came out hot in this one, man.
With Statlander seated against the steel stairs, she hit like a basement crossbody, which was kind of cool. There's like
I thought that looked awesome.
A chop lariat in like one move, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, one arm chops, and the next one's a lariat.
Chop right into a lariat, just like
good.
1-2 kind of combo.
She's cool.
There's a slingshot elbow drop from Statlander. Sakura, she hit like a delayed butterfly backbreaker, which was really cool for a 2 count, and Statlander picked up the win with the Wednesday Night Fever.
First of all, I talked about it when we watched it. I love how vocal Sakura is. Like she's yelling
constantly
and screaming,
like chattering in the match.
Yeah. The crossbody to the steps looked cool. I fully expected Statlander was moving at that, but she did not. I thought Sakura brought the fire early and got the crowd into this, and then Statlander got to showcase her power, but only a little bit, because it was a short match, and Sakura dominated a lot of it, right? So Statlander gets a quality win. Didn't get a lot of time. I really enjoy. I think Emi Sakura is really good. she looked like a threat in this. And if
That she came out looking strong for sure.
build on this momentum, she's unique, experience, and I think she's really good. I wish they would just do more than put her in random matches with no build ever.
I don't
Right?
think they're
She's
going
good.
to though.
No, I don't either.
I feel like I don't know why. I feel like she's older, not like,
she is.
but like I feel
She's
like she's
very
definitely like a
experienced.
veteran
She is.
now. So I can't imagine her getting much upward mobility anymore. And also just like look wise, I don't know if they would.
How dare
but-
you? She's not old. She's exactly my age.
Okay, so she's old.
Actually, technically born a year earlier, but we're the same age right now
Oh, interesting.
until October. So
Not
yeah,
soon.
she's not young.
But yeah, so I figured,
But
but
she's
she's
good.
still really good. I think I like her in this purpose though.
She's
because
different. She's good in the ring. It's true.
I don't
she's
think
filling a role.
I don't think she'll ever do anything because I do think it's Lafer. But I do like this like dark character compared to like that weird Eddie Mercury thing she was doing.
Yeah.
Or sorry,
Jo-
Freddie
Eddie-
Mercury.
Eddie
Sorry,
Mercury.
I missed a
His
missed a
cousin,
couple
Freddie
letters there.
Mercury's lesser known
I missed
cousin.
a couple letters there, but like I remember she's doing that kind of thing when she first came.
Yeah,
And it's just,
she
I
was.
do kind of like this look better, and I thought she was kind of entertaining here.
She's fun. Man.
Her offense was really cool and unique. So I do kind of like her in this. She did look like a threat, however, I didn't think Statlander was ever in danger of
Course
losing,
not.
of course. But I like that she got time to shine before she took the inevitable loss. So I thought this was job well done.
Yep.
Solid women's match. I thought. Oddly enough, Emi Sakura is someone who's never on TV. Probably one of my preferred women's matches in recent times, just because a lot of time it's just meh. But
Yep.
I thought this was good.
Me too.
Next, we got a quick vignette from Roddy Strong. He's sitting in a chair with his neck brace on with the Kingdom. He was talking about his upbringing, about his parents having a drug and alcohol problem. He said professional wrestling was there for him, and it's his everything. He said he grew up alone, and he'll win this tournament alone as he's sitting with the Kingdom.
Yeah.
And it starts tonight.
I thought this was cool. They kind of did this with him in NXT as well, the backstory.
I don't ever remember that.
Oh, yeah, it was his
But
rough upbringing.
I'm going to assume it was pre-Undisputed Era, and I'm going to be honest, other than him facing... there's only... like the only things I remember from his babyface time in NXT was challenging Bobby Roode and Drew McIntyre for the NXT title on TV, and that's all I remember from him pre-Undisputed Era, other than War Games.
I thought this was cool, but there's a bit of an odd tone to it just because it's really a serious thing, and then Roddy's delivery is a little bit unique, shall we say?
I thought it
But
was
I still
good,
really
though.
liked it.
I liked a speaking segment with him again, which is weird, but so I thought it was good. I don't think it was on the level of his outburst last week, however, I still liked it. Included some realism to it, so I think that helps. And it's a nice backstory for him.
Yep.
With Samoa Joe in the tournament, and I mentioned this later in his segment, but it seems like him and MJF they'll have like an issue. So I'm a little concerned for the Roddy dream win here, but I still hope they pull it off because I really do think that the next evolution of the Cole MJF story is Roddy. I do think the MJF Joe feud has potential, as we'll see later.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Roddy thing is much better because I think it encompasses Cole as well. I feel like the Joe thing is a little like you could do that after this.
Mhm.
I feel like Strong, it's like a nice, or maybe you do the Joe thing before. I don't know, but I feel this is the only time you can get Strong in a world title match right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like it just kind of meshes everything together
It
nicely.
could. I don't think it's happening, but
I'm starting to question it, but I still think that they should. Anyways, next we get Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara versus our boys Aussie Open.
Yep.
This is an Aussie Open podcast. Some notables here. Jericho and Guevara go for a double team. Vidus did a cartwheel for some reason, then hit a double clothesline.
wow.
Chop exchange between Guevara and Fletcher. There's a tandem delayed vertical suplex from Guevara and Jericho. Fletcher kicked out of a code breaker, much to my surprise. So good for him, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Aussie Open do like their spine buster, the super collider variation that they do on the outside, where they both like over their shoulders and they run around the ring and smash them into each other.
Yep.
Davis drops Jericho from the fireman's carry into the kick from Fletcher, and then they hit that Aussie arrow, that middle rope cutter assist that they do. There's a super kick, then the running corner into Gary from Fletcher, followed by the Brainbuster for 2. Shades of the Orange Cassidy match.
Looks good.
He's got really good speed on it.
He does.
And then he just smashes them in the corner. Like, I thought it looked really good again.
It did.
And it reminded me of that match I love so dearly. And then Fletcher ate a Judas effect. He sold it pretty good, I'll say.
Was a good Judas
it's a good
effect
Jericho
for
win.
once.
Yeah, and Jericho gets the win for his team. And Sammy's on mat after some accidental friendly fire. Then they argue to the point where security cuts in. Which I thought was odd, because usually when teams. Like I feel like that's usually when like it's major rivals and you think they're gonna fight. But this, I don't know. Security here was a little weird to me.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to nitpick a little bit because I'm getting a bit defensive at the treatment of Aussie Open. I don't know.
I will too.
I don't know why Fletcher would stand there and do nothing. The one part where Jericho and Sammy are like making mocking poses right in front of him, and he doesn't do anything.
Was that when they do like the pose that they always do, or are you
Yes.
talking about the delayed suplex?
No, the posing.
I guess there's that too.
And
Davis
then
coulda come in.
Callis even wonders aloud why Davis would not go in and break up the tandem stalling suplex.
there it
Like,
is,
why wouldn't you go in? So just a couple things that these are tag team specialists, and they're amazing. They wouldn't make these mistakes.
I love Aussie Open, yeah, and they just look kind of odd here. I thought this was.
I thought it was good
fine.
still. I don't like the result.
I thought it was
but
okay. Nothing amazing though, but it was solid. I think at least the Aussie Open were decently competitive here, unlike their All-In match.
I had
thought
that
this was
as
a
well.
step up from that.
Agree.
They didn't get crushed at least, and made to look dumb again. However, I don't think it helps they lost to two guys who haven't teamed in ages and are having like marital problems. If we were gonna have Sammy and Jericho argue after the match, anyways, couldn't Aussie Open have one to make it more sense? And wouldn't, if anything, wouldn't that make it better? Like, wouldn't that make the argument make more sense? If anything,
I think
I don't
so.
know.
I liked the match by the end of it.
I did like it. But
I thought Aussie Open looked good. I still have the same complaint with the Jericho Sammy stuff. So I never know whether either one of them are heel or face. And so when you're trying to tell a story where the key element is who's heel and who isn't, like, I don't know and I don't care because they've all been like nebulous, kind of neither both for
I think,
months
like,
now.
It's weird because Sammy was drifting towards face and Jericho's heel, but then the Callis thing came in, so then Jericho's drifting towards face, and now
and the
they're
Pillars
both
made
faces.
Guevara face, and then he
but
kind of wasn't, and now he is.
Yeah, it's been a weird year for Guevara.
So when you're like, you've rendered for them, for me, with them, any turn's kind of meaningless. So when that's the linchpin of your story, I'm like, I don't really care because they've both been everything forever.
I don't see a payoff that I'm interested in.
Me either.
I don't know.
Yep.
I'm glad Aussie Open on TV again. I'm always going to be happy to see them. I just don't understand why they had to lose.
I don't enjoy how they're being used at the moment. But
no, I was really happy. Like, I think ROH Tag Team Champions was nice for them because like it gave them some gold and some level of prominence. We'll say whatever the ROH titles equate to. But yeah, this isn't the best for them right now. But I'll still take them being on TV because I love to see them, and their theme song is a bop.
Correct.
Next, we get a recap of the Danielson Starks match with some promo bits from Starks. I didn't catch all of it because I was honestly about to write it off as just a recap package. But from what I did get,
no, he went off. I didn't write specific notes, but he went off
yeah.
a little bit. Yeah.
He talked about how he didn't tap and nobody can tap him out. He asked when he'll get a chance and he isn't going to keep pouring his heart out for nothing. He said that among other things, but he sounded really good here. The passion was there. He was back to the confident, cocky heel Starks that we love. And I think he was a good babyface, don't get me wrong. However, he is so much better as a heel, far more entertaining. He comes out of the Star match looking great too. So here's hoping they capitalize on that momentum here.
That's funny.
And
I said build on that momentum, but pretty close.
Yeah, I'm not saying like, I don't know. I figured they can do something. It's just like they don't need more titles, but I feel like titles are an easy way to like push someone, and obviously the titles feel occupied right now, so I'm not sure what they can do with him, but I hope they do something. You know, that's for the creative to figure out and for me to watch.
I thought he sounded great here, intense and believable, and he's a little bit like Tiffany Stratton for me in terms of, I would say virtually all of his recorded stuff is great, but sometimes live in a longer segment, I feel like he gets a bit lost.
I think that was also in the babyface role too. I think he's pretty good in general, but I think it works better as a
And
heel.
same thing, the strap match with Danielson was fantastic, so I'm hoping they build on that for him.
Yeah, I think it was a really good kind of elevation point for him.
Yep.
Why is my dock not responding? It's not working. Start working. It's being slow.
Well, I can kind of go. It was Renee with
we go.
Renee with Callis and Takeshita.
Yep. All right, now we're back in, tagging back in. Yeah, we have Callis and Takeshita with Renee. They have another covered art thing because Callis can't learn from his mistakes. Callis talks about Takeshita being Omega twice in a week. Technically true.
Yep.
And he's the new big dog around here. He says they'll celebrate next week and reveal their next target. I thought this was a solid bit. I'm just glad they're keeping Takeshita moving.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're kind of keeping the train running or the ball rolling after the All Out success that he had. I could see Kenny coming back to even the score, but I'm okay with that.
Me
just
too.
from a wrestling standpoint.
Yep.
I mean, would I love Takeshita to get a definitive win and move on because he's awesome? Sure. But will I gladly take another match and or a third match? Also, yes.
Yep.
Especially with another pay-per-view coming up, you could just do that. That's fine.
I like that Callus, this painting thing has now become a gimmick, and it's pretty amusing, even to the point now where it's like, we'll use it to build a week away now, right? Because people really want to see that painting. And they're just
my favorite one is still the Callus Takeshita Centaur. I think that's still my profile picture on
Callus and Takeshita, we already said it, they're a great combination, and for him to be able to say, in any sense, have it be true
it is.
That he beat Kenny twice in a week is awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome for him. I'm super happy for him because he's one of those guys where we've just kind of enjoyed him from day one. I'll never forget seeing that. Yeah. It's like me getting captivated by Tyler Rust, except Tyler Rust didn't do crap.
Right.
And now he's not even on social. He's just dropped off the radar. But yeah, ever since the first match, Takeshita has just been captivating. So I'm really happy to see him actually getting a push now.
Me too.
The two promises I had this year were a push for Takeshita and the return of Pete Dunne, and only one of those has happened. At least one panned out. Next, we will hear from Maxwell Jacob Friedman. So he did like some crap hand or whatever, talking about you know using the devil catchphrase and all that spiel. Just kind of gloss over that because that's pretty standard. Babyface MJF, it's still kind of strange.
It is.
He said that he called Tony Khan a mark and said that he was told he had to wrestle again on September 20th. But he said it's Grand Slam and it's in the Devil's Den because, of course, it is in New York.
Mm-hmm.
He said whoever wins that tournament will find out that nobody's on the level of the devil. And he said one person might need to be taught a certain lesson, and that leads to Samoa Joe coming out. Joe asked him what seems to be the problem kid. Then MJ proceeded to make a fat joke, saying maybe Joe confused Max's music with an ice cream truck, which is pretty funny. And then Joe said last time he was involved with an ice cream truck, he was busy being the biggest star on the other company's network.
Which we did not get in the moment.
We did not get, but I did see something in because he was in, I think it's Twisted Metals, the movie, and he played some clown-looking character.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's in an ice cream truck. I feel like it's because that movie is probably on Peacock. I think that's probably the idea.
Oh, okay. WWE.
I thought it was like NXT or something. I was like, this doesn't make sense to me, but I think it makes sense now.
Yep.
Joe kept calling him kid. He kept like repeating like what seems to be the problem kid, kind of like trying to either like get under his skin or get to the point kind of thing. MJ said he's a pretty creative guy. Then he started going at with more fat jokes, like Samoa Joe. I think there's a Pillsbury Joe boy or something like that.
Yes.
MJ said when he was 19 years old, he had tried on Brooklyn for WWE, and he knocked it out of the park. And he mentioned, obviously, that story with Regal again, blowing him off. And it ended with him knocking Regal out and sending him back to NXT where he belongs. And then MJF did talk about that security incident from NXT all those years ago. And what was the line? He was saying, like, Joe took a 19-year-old kid who was just trying to do his job.
Oh my
and
God,
then the crowd chanted. He was like, and someone just ran from the crowd and said, and effed him. And it was like.
But the full word.
It was perfectly timed.
I haven't laughed that hard.
So
in quite
funny.
a while. We rewound a couple times. It was just one crowd member's voice, perfectly timed and perfectly
like
audible.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it was very, very funny.
It was so
Not
funny.
gonna
You could
lie.
hear some crowd laughter. I'm laughing just thinking.
I am a
about it
full-grown
now.
man, and I almost laughed to tears at it. It was great.
I was almost crying laughing. It was so funny. Just the timing on that was awesome. Honestly, the restraint for Joe and MJF to not even so much as acknowledge that, I respect them because that was funny as hell. I tried to find it on the internet after. I haven't found it yet because
it was funny.
So funny. I would save that clip if I could. Oh man, it was hilarious. Anyways, MJF said Joe is next, and he told the story about, obviously, the security thing. He said he knows how scumbags think because he's the fan scumbag. He said he's not a boy anymore. He's a generational talent and the AEW World Champion, best wrestler on the God's green earth. While also headlining the most historic pay-per-view of all time, of course, that being All In. He says he's MJF. he says he warns Joe to stay out of his way or he will kill him because he's Maxwell Jacob Friedman and he's better than you and you know it. That whole spiel. Samoa Joe said that was a point beautifully made. He said he didn't think of MJF as a kid when he pushed him. He said he'll be in the tournament and he'll beat everybody for it, and then he's going to come for MJF. He told MJF to have a nice day. Then MJF left and he got crushed in the ropes. He got beat down by Joe. And then he tried to fight back with a low blow, but then Joe spiked him with the Iranagi in the corner, and he was going to go for a muscle buster, but Cole ran out for the save. And then MJF was getting checked on. Yeah, this first, way too long. Yeah. Both of them are very talented and are very believable speaking. I was enjoying it, but I got distracted by that fan.
We both were drifting by the end of it. It
was that fan helped.
It was a long promo, but yeah, I mean, I love Joe being put into the main event sort of tier, even though there's no chance he actually wins. He's great on the mic. He knows how to build a match. He can be a great heel now that MJF's doing a babyface thing for a bit.
Which is so weird.
It is weird. You're just kind of always waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? Is a perpetual state right now.
There's not only that, but just now that he's feuding with heels is really weird.
Yep. No reason for this to be this long, but I have not laughed as hard as I did at that in a long time. So that was good.
I laughed when I think, I don't know how I could find that again, but I will be so happy when I find that again.
It was funny
because that was so funny. That takes me back to being at live shows because that's typically the kind of thing you'd only hear when you're there. But the fact that you can just barely hear it over everyone is awesome. That was honestly my favorite part. I enjoy this though. Overall, I thought it was really good for the most part. I did think obviously it overstayed its welcome, like you were saying, but overall I thought it was pretty good because obviously they're both great on the mic, so they can play off each other really well, and I think they did. I would like the callback to that infamous NXT moment because that's always something people mention when talking about early MJ. So I like that it's kind of used for a little feud here. I think that's a neat idea. If I'm being honest, I did get distracted by that fan because it's so funny. It's so goddamn funny. If it's possible to find that clip, I implore anyone to watch that because it's so funny. It's perfect. The end stretch of this was fine, but just it kind of suffered from feeling really long. Overall, though, I like this. I like them training barbs. I still want Roddy to win the tournament, though.
Good luck.
And we go right into that with Roddy and Trent Beretta, best friends, getting some time in the Grand Slam World Title Tournament. And congrats to both of them making the quarterfinals.
Yay!
They must have qualified on Dark or something. Oh, wait. Doesn't exist. And this kind of bled in from the last segment as well because Roddy came out shouting Adam Cole's name again.
He did.
As MJ was being helped to the back. And Roddy took off the neck brace for the match. I thought it's really funny that his graphic for the collision match with Darby is him looking like a middle-aged dad, and he's got the neck brace on.
Yeah,
it's really funny. Yeah. I thought it looked really cool. Roddy ran into a standing meteor from Trent. I thought that looked really nice. There was chops in the pendulum back away from Roddy. Roddy was kind of standing on the stairs, and he just dropped Trent in a back suplex on the apron. He came off really hard. That looked awesome.
He landed really hard.
Trent hit 2 consecutive German suplexes. Those looked pretty nice and heavy. Then Roddy blocked a third, but Trent was able to connect with the Death Valley Driver for 2. We got a nice sick kick from Roddy for a 2 count. Enziguri followed by a nice half and half suplex from Trent. That was really nice, I thought. Nice power driver from Trent, but Roddy got his foot on the bottom rope at the 2 count. And eventually Roddy connected with a knee strike, which he does very nicely, and the end of Heartache for the win.
Yeah, really good TV match. Really similar, right? Similar size, both tons of experience, really fast, really accomplished. Lots of targeting of Roddy's neck, which is an opportunity for someone like Trent to just give you lots of cool looking offense, right? And target that neck.
Nice half and half in the power driver.
Yeah, definitely makes sense to have Roddy win. He's involved in a story with Cole and MJF right now. And yeah, other than having to see the Kingdom at all, I thought that this was really good. I'll never get tired of the end of Heartache, man. I love that
nice
move.
Finisher, yeah.
So yeah, I thought this was a really good TV match.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. It was a really nice TV match, like you said. It was as good as you would expect from these two, and I mean that in a nice way. Roddy's neck troubles were a nice story in the match, and I assume that'll be a nice tournament thing. Although that's only 2 more matches.
Yes.
But I mean, no, jokes aside, this is a good size tournament for TV because I think 8-man's a great TV tournament.
Yeah.
I think 16 is more if you want to do TV to pay-per-view kind of
Mhm.
thing. But I just think that my issue comes then, don't call the first round a quarterfinal. Like, that's the only thing.
Just say first round.
First round, semis, finals, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I think calling the first round any sort of final is just stupid.
Yep.
But the back suplex on the apron was really gnarly. That was awesome. End of Hardic is always cool to see, like you said. It's like a drill call thing, except we actually see it.
Speaking of which,
more on that. I thought Trent though looked nice here. He doesn't always get appreciated, but I thought he had some really cool offense. I like the half net suplex. The power drive was nice. So I like seeing some nice stuff from Trent here.
Yep.
And like I'm saying, Trios House would be a nice way to get him on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Roddy's always gonna win, but still a really nice TV match of this, I thought. Then we get Toni Storm interview doing her weird shtick. She gets asked about costing Ruby the 2 years title, and she kind of denies it, saying she doesn't remember. She says, must look forward and not backwards. She gets asked by Renee about the 4-way to determine Saraya's Grand Slam challenger. Ew, that means Saraya's almost been here for a year.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh, gross. What the hell? Why did I just realize that? Jesus. Tony says Renee is so nosy. Next week she'll do an exclusive sneak peek into her life, I guess. And she says, you know what they say, chin up, tits out, and watch out for the shoe. Then when she leaves, she throws a shoe at Renee.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think we're kind of in the same place. Like, I don't know.
I really don't know how I feel about this.
It's really cheesy, but maybe amusing. Not sure.
It's just, the only word I can think of is intriguing, because I don't think I can say I like it yet, but I definitely don't hate it because I'm willing to give this a chance because it's not.
Gets my attention.
It's not like the Outcast where it's bad, and I know I don't like it. And I'm not for sure liking this yet, but
same.
It kind of remains to see where this will go, and then that'll kind of depend on how I feel because I don't know what to think about right now. But it's the nicest thing I can say is it's interesting.
And again, the women get some extra patience because the ball's been dropped with that division till now. So I'm willing to be a little patient because I'm the same. I'm not sure.
Absolutely,
I'm
goes.
hoping I like it, but the jury is still out.
I respect the attempt at least.
Correct.
Next week, get to hear from Hangman Page, which turned out to be better than I expected.
I was not expecting where this went.
Yeah, no, me neither. Page is getting interviewed in the ring with Shivani. Shivani talks to him about the battle royal he won on the All Out pre-show, which was a $50,000 charity battle royal, and he donated that to the Chicago Public Education Fund. Giving money in Chicago
as a former teacher, what a guy.
Giving Chicago money though at this time.
Former high school teacher.
What a loser.
Who would want to do that job?
That's stupid.
Right.
Page said it meant a lot to him because he was a teacher, while adding that teachers are underpaid and underappreciated. I wonder how old he would have been when he's teaching because he doesn't look that old.
He's not very old.
Right? Like, so that's pretty interesting. Page said he wanted to look forward. He wanted to speak at the rest of 2023, but then Swerve's music hits. Oh ho ho.
He's 32.
Oh wow, that's pretty good for him. Actually, that's a nice prime age for him.
Yep.
Actually. And then Nana's dancing in the ring because he's a funny little guy like that. He told Tony to leave, while telling the fans to show some respect for Swerve. When Swerve got to speak, he was saying being in a coffin for 2 weeks gives you some perspective, which I thought was kind of funny. Suggest he's been in there for 2 weeks. Swerve said the students he's donating to are just going to flunk out anyway, so it's kind of a waste of time. Swerve mocked Page for only being on the pre-show at All Out. He said that Page hasn't gotten any new ring gear in a while, which I feel like that's not true. He wore new ring gear at Blood and Guts at least. So there.
Take that.
Why do I remember that? Because it looked cool. Because it was the Golden Elite colors or whatever, and it looked cool. And he pointed out that Hangman's eating good with his new contract, and he was kind of mocking him for that. He said that Page has gotten comfortable hanging out with the Elite, and if he had the opportunities Hangman's had, he'd be the first Black AEW World Champion now. That is definitely true, because Swerve's awesome. Swerve said Page should move out of the way, and move out of the spot he doesn't want, so Swerve can take it. He said he can move out of the way and go home and let Swerve take the spot and do more with it because he actually wants it. Or he can show him and the people what his cowboy that is all about. He said that Page can fight him for his spot, but he warned Hangman that he has no regard for anybody. He said he'll walk him like a dog, but I feel like dog walks are nice and peaceful though, so that's kind of a weird analogy, you know. He said either way he's coming for the spot that Page acts like he doesn't even want. Then Page kind of gets fired up, it was like he's talking to Swerve, but you can kind of hear it picking up on the mic that Swerve was holding. He said, if you want a match, then go to the match and get it, but he said he's done with this right now. He left the ring, but then Swerve kind of taunted him, saying it's a shame his wife and kids love to see him walk away from responsibilities. So Page came back in and got in his face, but Cage decked him from behind, and he had a powerbomb, and lo and behold,
we got it.
A drill claw.
We got our drill claw.
Mother effing drill
Happened
claw.
to your boy, but
yes.
a drill claw.
It's a drill claw, okay? Yep. We will accept it because it's a drill claw, and that is awesome. And then Swerve and Cage stand over him after he got drill clawed.
Yeah,
Boom.
I thought great to see Swerve out here because if they slow burn this, the potential, because Hangman is such a good guy and Swerve is so evil, like super villain.
Not to mention I love both of them wrestling wise.
Right. I thought Swerve was fighting a little bit the first half of this, but then once he got focused on the whole idea, like, you're the privileged guy that's been given this spot and you're like reluctant about taking it, and like I'm the guy that can't get the spot he deserves, so
that would do anything for it.
If you're gonna take it for granted, I'm just gonna snatch it from you, and it's not gonna be
I
fun
really
for
like
you.
that. I thought that was a really cool pivot towards this because admittedly I love both these guys, and on paper I'm gonna be a fan of this just because I love both of them a lot and I want to see them in a match. But I do like the way they pivoted because it felt really random to me. When I saw it was Swerve, I was like, what? Because it's random. I love it, but it's random. But I really like what Swerve had to say, though. From a certain point of view, he's right. It's been a fall from grace for Hangman since his top of the card solo days, maybe partially because of Punk. Who knows? But I really like it because, yeah, like you said, Hangman's kind of been gifted the opportunities he's had, and even in past times and also I guess now he's kind of reluctant to take it and kind of reluctant to go on his own again and kind of stand strong on his own, and obviously Swerve with not getting those opportunities, he's gonna go after that spot by any means necessary. And bigger picture, right?
Swerve's been wrestling forever and been all around the world, and he's never been the major guy anywhere, right? And it's just like
Hangman, like he went to Bullet Club, then he was like a focal point of AEW.
And they're trying to hand you the reins to this company, and you're like hemming and hawing about it.
He's fumbling it, right?
Yeah, I like it a lot.
I really like Swerve being pissed about that, and I do think, if they gave him an opportunity, he would absolutely take the ball and run with it.
Me too.
With Hangman being just a player in the Elite Blackpool Saga, I like that they're using this to reignite his solo fire. And I feel like we got glimpses of that when he got fired up.
And it's a great choice for an opponent for him to just be the baby face he is, man.
Yeah. I think this will really, I think this is a great feud choice to bring back the amazing babyface Hangman that we got during the build to his title run and then the title run itself. I think we've been kind of missing that ever since, just kind of the withdrawal period. And then also, I love the Elite Blackpool Saga this year, but like I said, that wasn't, Hangman was just one of the players in that, right? I feel like to get him his own thing again is great. And I'll just take any excuse to get Hangman Swerve because those are two of my favorites on the roster. And that'll be awesome, I feel like. Maybe we booked that for Wrestle Dream. I don't know because it's like a month away.
Another thing with Swerve, and I know you love it too, is the dynamic between super evil, mean mugging Swerve and then just Nana beside him being as goofy as heck, dancing.
I love it.
So it's just the one guy is
Swerve
all
just,
business all the time, and the other guy is just having a blast.
Swerve walks to the ring looking like a menace, and it's just
dancing like a fool, but it's working for him.
It's so funny. It's becoming a thing for sure.
Yep.
I really enjoyed what they did here for
Me
something
too.
that came in a left field, and I loved this segment a lot. Swerve was great. He's awesome. And we got a drill claw, so that's going to bump it up a little for me.
And obviously Cage is gatekeeping, right? I assume.
Next week, I think we'll get the
Right.
But that's a good match to have, so I'm okay with that.
Makes sense.
I think this was a win all around. Very nice. Really cool feud to be getting. I think I'm very pleased with that in general. Next, we got a quick promo package for the people in the Grand Slam tournament, which if you were thinking of world title contenders, you would definitely pick Jay Lethal, Penta, and Jeff Hardy.
Absolutely.
Specifically, Jeff Hardy.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, they all said a few things that was fine, but none of these guys make sense to me in a tournament for a world title shot. Allow me to elaborate. Jeff Hardy's old and he sucks, so I have no clue as to why he's here. simple. Also, he's unreliable if you really want to go there. Jay Lethal's done nothing on his own in ages. He's a great hand in ring, but he hasn't done anything on his own that's meaningful. And he teams with Jarrett, so he doesn't belong. And I love Penta, don't get me wrong. We love Penta here. He's awesome. But he hasn't done much solo lately. And literally the last thing he did was lose to Orange Cassidy last week.
And
so
even just the tone of this, as soon as it started, I'm like, this is promoting stuff I'm not going to see. Like, you can just feel it now, right? Like, this is not Dynamite. And then I think my brain switches off a little bit because it's like, I'm not seeing the payoff of this, so I don't really care.
These are just for Rampage matches.
Right.
And you didn't even put Samoa Joe in here. Yes, he already has a segment, but like he's the only one out of these 4 on Rampage that actually feels like it belongs in the tournament.
Right.
So, yeah. Then we go to our main event, which is Darby Allin versus Nick Wayne in a quarterfinal match again. Good job for Nick Wayne, youngest quarterfinalist, has to be. Right?
Second TV main event, and he's what, 18, 19, not 20. Crazy.
He just turned 18, right? Right. But like beginning of the summer, you know what I mean. Darby missed a suicide diver, and then he just crashed into the barricade because he has a death wish. This guy.
Mine says Darby misses a suicide dive in grand fashion.
As he does. I don't know how. It's like I don't know how Kenny doesn't have severe neck issues. I don't know how Darby's not dead.
Right.
Like I don't know how he's not dead.
The mentality you have to be like, run as fast as you can, and you're really, really fast, and dive headfirst into a barricade. Go.
It's absolutely absurd, but on some level, I respect it because
of course.
I'm not that. I would never be able to do that. That's truly just throwing caution to the wind. It's crazy. Nick Wayne hit a superplex right into a fisherman suplex. Superplex into a fisherman suplex. Okay, making sure I got that right. For a 2 count. The way he like bounces up into the bridge pin, it's really cool because like
they both make full contact, and then he immediately like bridges out of that.
Yeah, like he like lands on his back like a normal suit, but like then he bounces up into a bridge.
It's
like
cool.
It's really cool. It's like it's something that I don't think a lot of people do, and also like it helps him stand out, and it's great. Like again, he's 18 and he's doing something like so like minimally cool.
And it's like he had a lab in his house where he could just do stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you master a suplex at 12, you can start tweaking stuff.
That's really cool. Yeah,
it's cool.
I really like. There was just like a small thing that like honestly I was like, wow, that's
just a little different.
Yeah, I really like that. I like the small, minute difference there.
Yep.
There's a running shotgun drop from Darby, sending Wayne into the turnbuckles. There's nice, like, a really solid-looking crossbody collision. That was really cool.
It was, both down.
There's a fist bump of respect and a strike exchange, and Darby's kind of eating strikes from Nick, and then he grabs a mic, telling him to hit harder. He does, but Darby still eats it. Then he wants another shot, and Nick actually nails him with a really nice super kick for 2. I thought that was nice. Then we cut to a commercial break just after Christian and Luchasaurus walk out and head to the commentary table. After that, a little later on, we see Nick connect with the Wayne's World, that springboard cutter from the corner for 2. I thought that looked pretty nice. He went for a top rope cutter. Darby pushes him off, but hesitates on a coffin drop. Wayne pinned Darby at the last upper for 2, so I thought that was kind of nice. Symmetry there.
For a second, I'm like, is they going to let him win this? No. Okay.
I honestly, at first, I thought Darby was doing it. I was like, oh, Darby. But then I was like, oh, wait, no. Nick Wayne's pinning him. Code red for 2 from Darby. And so the finish comes when I'll do my best to explain this. Nick Wayne's seated, and so Darby's kind of got, like, his legs over his head, and so he's, like, bending his arms back in, like, a butterfly kind of hold, and then he just starts kicking him in the head until he submits. Like, it was pretty gnarly.
It's a little extra viciousness from Darby. I like it.
One of the things that I noted was, like, I thought it was funny that he didn't want to do a coffin drop, but then he was like, okay, I'll kill you.
Yeah.
Like, but I will say that was a pretty gnarly finish. It was unique, too, so I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Another good match where the loser got a ton of offense, as happens in Darby Allin matches. Memorable spots from Darby, the missed dive and stuff. Nick Wayne continues to look good, right? For me, it's the selling. I think he sells pretty well for a kid.
I think he's just like super.
He moves really well.
Well-rounded and polished.
I hate to do this to him, and I've seen other people do this, but they're like, this is and this is really dangerous territory, but like a young Will Ospreay, right? And you can see that's not fair to put those expectations on him.
No.
That's a lot for an 18-year-old, but you can see.
He's built like young Ospreay.
And he moves really well, and he can fly. So
I do think he has the makings of Will Ospreay. I'm not saying I would expect that of him, because Ospreay is on another level right now.
Ospreay's a next-level athlete, too. Like, he's not... Like, Nick Wayne is really...
He's a really good wrestler.
Yes.
So I think it's a little different, but Ospreay's generational.
I like this. I like the finish because Darby looking a little more vicious against his own friend, right? So that's a little different, and it sets up Roddy Darby Allin, right?
Which I think
should
I
be
have to see.
sweet.
Darby could sell the crap out of a backbreaker.
So a good main event.
Yeah, I thought this was a really great TV match. I really liked the pace to it, and it was entertaining. I knew these two would work well, just style-wise, and their history was really nice. His second TV main event, and Wayne looks really good. When he's given some actual time to shine like this in the Swerve match, I think he's awesome. Like the match at the Gates of Agony or something like that. There's nothing you can really do there. So I thought he looks awesome when he actually has time to shine to show how great he is for considering he's 2 years older than myself.
Right.
That superplex fisherman suplex combo was awesome. Just the bridge was really nice and unique. That super kick was nice. Wayne's World was cool. The missed dive was absurd. We had some really nice exchanges towards the end. I thought the finish was really cool too. That hold looked really painful. It looked brutal when we started just kicking him in the head. But that was nice. Darby versus Roddy should be really nice, and that might make me watch Collision. Probably not on time because we'll be indying, but
right.
I'll definitely check it out still.
I had a feeling you'd get on board with Nick Wayne because I remember you're just like, "What's the hype that this kid?" But
I'm glad he's definitely proven himself though. I hope they give him like another match like this. I would love for him to challenge Moxley.
He's kind of like the Roxanne Perez, honestly. Like it's that similar,
Except
like
he's
a
better.
prodigy.
He should face Mox.
Overall, this show, like, there were no blowaway matches on this show. I didn't think at all, but there were good matches, and there was
segments.
Good segments. I liked Orange Cassidy segment. I liked the Hangman segment for sure. Stark's promo was really good. Matches, everything was pretty good. There was nothing I didn't like match-wise, but nothing that blew me away either. So this feels like I'm going to go a B, not quite a B+, but almost. Yeah, solid show. And good matches. I wish there was something I'd say you have to go out and see it, but a bunch of good matches if you do see them.
I do think it's good that at least like even the women's match is good because usually
Almost
that
a B+.
seems like kind of lackluster, But
Right.
I think the women's match delivered here.
I liked it too. Yeah, good show. B, almost a B+ for me.
I think I'd agree. I think all the matches were good. I think if you're gonna check out any, I would check out the main event.
Me
I
too.
think that was definitely my favorite of the night. My favorite segment was definitely Hangman and Swerve. I would also check that out. I thought that was really good.
I agree.
However, MJF and Joe rivaled them simply for that crowd chant.
So
alone.
long.
That crowd.
Yeah,
long,
it did deliver a highlight.
That was incredibly funny. But generally, though, I think this show was really nice. I think it was just like really stellar throughout. I don't think there was any really low points, which is good to say. But I don't think anything was outright amazing. And I would give it a low B+ maybe. I think
That's fair. I was close to it.
I think it has room to improve, but I think it was a very nice show though. A nice fallout.
Yep. All right. Well, that wraps up our Dynamite review. We'll now tackle a bit of trivia here in a segment we like to call Off the Top of His Head. All right, so this week I found, it's not current, it was published in 2015 by the staff at the Sportster.
That's not even current at all.
And it's some of the, just so you know when to cut off your guesses from, right? So,
Sure.
Least interesting wrestlers in WWE history. Now, I was already offended because the image they've chosen to put with it is Lance Storm, who
He's not interesting.
he was uninteresting on purpose, and he was fantastic in the ring, and he was funny.
Covering it up.
So, anyway, so let's see what we get here. I'm going to just go through. And again, some of these are not so kind. So these are not my words. These are the staff at the Sportster. So don't get mad at me. This man was supposed to be one of WWE's golden geese that would rekindle a love affair within the Latino community with the corporation. Instead, we got a bland champion who played the overdone rich guy.
Del Rio.
Correct.
Okay, I thought it was him already.
I've never heard people imply he was boring or not interesting.
I could understand that.
That was a weird start.
Not personal things aside.
Where is this? This awful named character would barely ever see a WWE ring, and when he did, it was never enough to show off his talent. The WWE knew they had a good talker, so they tried him on commentary and gave him a web series, but his run with the company ended quickly. Went back to his old name from the indies, always be remembered as one of the funniest and most charismatic wrestlers in the indies. Despite that, WWE managed to get him dull and boring.
EC3?
No.
What was I thinking? EC3.
Somebody who is was friends with a guy you can't stand. Does that help you?
Cabana?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, Colt Cabana. Scotty Goldman was what it was there.
Interesting.
Yeah. You're pulling away from your mic there. Only future Hall of Famer to appear on this list, made a career of being really, really big. Was a much more capable in-ring competitor in his earlier days within WWE.
Bigelow?
No. Showed him.
Bundy?
No. Years have taken his toll. Mostly a mid-card wrestler, puts other talent over. Cheesy on the mic, faking tears, or trying to sound angry. Be remembered in the annals of WWE history books, but he has made a career out of being the sideshow, which is ironic based on his name.
Ziggler?
Big Show.
Oh, damn.
Talented in-ring performer, still quite young as of 2015. Still have plenty of room to grow. Look at his brother, older brother, who is on the main roster. For him to come remotely memorable, he will really need to work on his mic skills.
Bo Dallas?
Yes.
Nice.
They're
not a believer.
It wasn't his fault he was put in some of the worst storylines in WWE history, so that's a hint already, because it was one of his taglines. But it was sort of his fault for being...
Snitsky?
Yes. Looked like a powerhouse. Same one, I'm just finishing his.
Okay.
Looked like a powerhouse, faded away into the background during his first stint. He had facial hair, which was somewhat cool. Then on his second run, his distinguishable feature was that he had yellow teeth.
Oh, yeah, that was his
et cetera. Okay, so you got that one pretty well. Never meant to be a big deal, as he was meant to be a bodyguard for Kurt Angle. However, he managed to make Mark Jindrak look like he had a future, so that just shows how bland he was. Yeah. Nice.
That's a sick burn.
Yeah. If
Mark Jindrak, wow.
So there's a trend in this list, right? They say a lot of them are really big and talentless. So there's your first hint.
Heidenreich?
Upon entering the WWE, this man had a weird Hannibal Lecter type thing going on. But it was so lame that they scratched it immediately. They had such little confidence in him after his weak work in-ring and on the mic that he was pulled from a tag team match with The Undertaker at WrestleMania 19.
Oh, Nathan Jones.
Correct.
Wait, he was like Hannibal Lecter? How?
That's when he first came in, he was like a super violent former criminal.
I haven't watched those. What movie is that in?
Silence of the Lambs.
That thing. That's the thing.
Yeah. All right. This one's a bit harsh too. When WWE decided to revive ECW, there was a hope that it would give some screen time to young and interesting wrestlers.
Wait, is it Test?
No. Instead, we got this guy, barely able to stay in ECW and bounced between there and FCW. Had a generic look, generic entrance music, and a generic moveset.
Sylvester Terkay?
Nope.
Damn.
So little to even say about him because he made appearances in ECW just 3 times, and they were all losses. He was so bland, Canadian boy, that got over in NXT later. And is now technically in AEW, I think.
Jerry Lynn?
No, Sean Spears.
Oh, yeah. Use Gavin Spears.
Correct. That is the name they used here.
Nice.
Any wrestling purists will agree that this man was one of the greatest to ever step foot in a ring. If we were talking about pure technical ability... in elite company, but aside from that, he was exciting as wood shavings. Wow. Almost exclusively feuded with women for some inexplicable reason in WWE. Wrestled in the wrong era. If he'd wrestled in the 50s and 60s, he would have been a high card guy.
Damn
Instead, he was nothing more than a generic callback to the days that would not rise again. Technical superstar.
Owen?
Came to WWE as part of a faction. Small guy.
Malenko.
Yes. Very good.
I don't know how I got there, but yeah.
Biggest case of wasted potential on the list. Came to the WWE after playing linebacker in the NFL. Had the look, charisma, and athleticism to be great despite being stiff in the ring. Due to stiffness in the ring, he was always a danger to other wrestlers, and many of them complained about his lack of technical skill. Fans reacted positively to him, but he rarely accomplished this on his own. The company always put him in places to succeed, and rarely did we see those flashes of what he could have been. Instead, we got a powerhouse who will be forgotten in the history books. I wish they would give you the era, because that would narrow it down, and I'm not good at doing that.
Goldberg?
Similar, reckless.
Ryback?
No.
Damn it. I was thinking Goldberg.
Ahmed Johnson.
Oh, okay, no, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Wow, if you get this one. If you remember anything about this man that does not involve hair, then you're doing better than 97% of wrestling fans. Another wrestler who had an impressive look, but failed in almost every other way. In-ring work was stiff when he had the chance to show it, and he never really touched a mic. Deciding to retire in 2012, he was rebranded as a stripper, which obviously didn't work either.
Tensai?
And I think he's...
Like Albert?
Trans woman?
Tyler Rex.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, she is.
Nothing more than a bland attempt to capture some attention from the mixed martial arts world.
Steve Blackman.
No.
Damn it.
Pseudo MMA fighter who came to the ring each week with gloves and a tracksuit. He rarely spoke, leaving that to his wingman, Elijah Burke.
Sylvester Terkay.
Yeah, I was going to say you already guessed it, but I didn't want to give it to you.
I was so confident with the Steve Blackman bit there.
Let's see.
We love Sylvester Terkay, all right?
Never has there been a bigger waste of talent in WWE.
Wow. And
we don't mean his wrestling ability or anything. Really should have actually used his Harvard law degree and become a lawyer. One thing people think about is that he was married to Jennifer Hudson.
That is not helpful to me.
He did have some confidence on the mic and was serviceable as a backstage figurehead. Did some announcing too.
Striker?
No.
I'm still thinking.
Part of Nexus?
Oh, Percy Watson?
No.
Otunga?
Yes.
I hate David. Oh, he was horrible on commentary. I hate David Otunga.
Just because you are a member of a legendary Anoa'i family, does not mean you are destined to be a good wrestler. This man was supposed to be the new member to Legacy, but made very few.
Manu.
Right. I remember he was being considered for that, right?
Yeah. He had that one. There was that one segment where Ted DiBiase Jr. joined Legacy, and then him, Cody, and Randy Orton beat up Manu and Sim Snuka.
Right. That's right. Okay, if you get this one, you're good.
Okay.
The most memorable thing about you as a wrestler is that you wore sunglasses and a vest. You are not very interesting. To this day, I have no idea why the WWE thought they had something with this guy. He was not built, he was as green as a baseball field, and his accent was never really going to go over well with the fan base. It also did not help that he was shoved into the classic I'm making love to an older woman in power.
Eric Escobar?
And, my God, man, that is correct.
I don't know why. I thought it was him from the beginning.
It was.
The older woman thing cinched it for me because I knew he was with Vicky Guerrero, and I think he had like 1 or 2 Intercontinental title matches.
This one's mean too. Next one. Forever be known as the guy that managed to stand next to Heath Slater and make him look cool. Part of one of the most exciting storylines in recent years, the Nexus invasion, but managed to quickly fall to the background.
Really?
Not long after making his roster debut, he was injured and written off television. Occasionally, you would see him in a backstage segment, almost never in a ring again. So uninteresting that he never really got a chance to fail. He was just a warm body to make the Nexus look huge.
Skip Sheffield?
No.
Tarver?
Yes.
I was thinking Tarver for some reason. I was like, no. Why would it be Tarver?
This guy never did anything other than lose to The Undertaker. You cannot...
Oh, wow.
Massive Argentinian, never really spoke. Humiliatingly bad to watch in the ring and never proved to be more than a sideshow.
Who's Argentinian?
Nothing good to say about him except for his size, which seemed to cause problems for other wrestlers to try and work with.
Is Heidenreich Argentinian?
The only thing, this will be a good hint for you, preventing him from being the least interesting wrestler ever is honestly that god-awful ring attire, which makes him look like the joke of the wrestling world forever.
Big Daddy V?
No. Ring attire that had like fake muscles and fur.
Oh, we're going Giant Gonzalez.
We are going Giant Gonzalez.
He's Argentinian. Okay, that's good to
know. 2 more. Could have been an okay persona for a wrestler during the height of the Cold War. He reminded you of Ivan Drago from Rocky, but just far less interesting.
Ludwig Borga.
No.
Right? Damn it.
Think of a more modern version of that, though. You're pretty... Here you go. WWE decided to make his gimmick the fact that he had no entrance music. Ukrainian, applauding Ukrainian, they call him here. 2008, mostly because it was one of the thinnest rosters in
Kozlov?
wrestling history. Yes,
Nice.
was
Okay.
actually in the title picture.
He had no
I knew as
music.
soon as you get year or even or era,
Yeah,
you're good.
years help a lot because then I can narrow it down.
And the number one least
Eric Escobar is
interesting.
a weird pull.
Would you just like to guess the number one least interesting ever? In their mind?
Is it Storm?
No. I actually skipped him because we already mentioned he was like 6 or 7.
Okay.
There is an argument to be made, and one I most likely back up, that this man is the worst wrestler to ever step foot inside a WWE ring. Was never meant to be more than a large foil to a smaller superstar. All he could provide was being tall and awkward looking. He could barely
Tom
speak.
McGee?
He could barely speak English, which made him useless on a mic, and he never performed more than 3 moves in his WWE tenure. Despite all these negatives, he ended up carrying the World Heavyweight title once. It is Khali.
Of course, it's Khali. Khali sucks.
He was terrible.
Khali's horrible.
That was pretty fun.
That was fun. I'm proud of the Eric Escobar
That
one.
was a nice one. And I knew if I could I don't always remember the era. I knew if I could even give you a range, you'd get all
Yeah,
of them.
ranges help so much because, like, I don't know, it's so vast without that. You know?
It is.
Even for me.
You still did very well. All right, so now we'll get back into talking about the week of wrestling, what we watched and liked and didn't like, and what we call high spots and rest holds. All right, so you said you had something from Raw, one thing maybe?
Yeah, I just want to talk about my boy again because we are a JD McDonough friendly podcast here.
We are.
I love JD McDonough. He was once again a prominent presence on Raw. He was involved in the Judgment Day segment. He gave Priest that custom case I showed you, the purple one, which looks pretty cool.
Yep.
And also seems to be kind of winning them over, so good for him.
Yep.
And then he actually beat Sami Zayn this time. It was a roll up with distraction from Dom, but still, I'll give him the win this time because last time he lost.
True. So that's good.
He did get kind of chumped after, but I'm just happy he's doing things. I'm glad
He's already getting a bit more attention than I thought he might.
Because they
he's small, he's weird looking.
They gave him a bit with Ziggler, but then they forgot about him and almost chucked him. But
right.
I'm glad they're actually doing things with him
too.
now.
He's awesome.
I'm happy about that.
Yep. NXT. So I kind of went high spots, Restholds, and a couple notables that were in between, but worth mentioning. The opener was one of those, just kind of okay. It was Tiffany Stratton successfully defending against Kiana James. 5-minute match to open the show.
How'd that go? Because they're both heel, right?
And I remember I said I thought this was the opportunity for them to have Stratton lean into being a face. Not the case at all. She tried to cheat multiple times, including I think there was a feed up on the ropes. She even grabbed Kiana James' bag and was going to use that. And then when the ref went to put it away, she gouged her eyes and won with her rolling senton and the
face turned Kiana James and she starts partying again.
And the prettiest moonsault ever. So okay match, nothing great. I did like Oro Mensah and Ilya Dragunov.
I saw Mensah nail him with a super kick at one point.
The one where
was killer.
Where Dragunov was going for the Constantine special,
I think that's what
and
it
he
was.
caught him in the ropes. It looked
nailed
awesome.
Him. That was awesome.
Yeah,
I saw a clip of that.
So there's a couple awkward moments early on where I think each man was supposed to look like they were anticipating another person's move, but it just came across a bit awkward. But then there was cool stuff, like specifically that. And then Dragunov ended up winning with a nice-looking Torpedo Moscow. It looked more like a diving headbutt than it does sometimes.
Yeah, it kind of depends on how he does it.
But I thought it was a good match and a good showing for Mensah. And Dragunov's just awesome. I thought then we got a nice in-ring segment to set up an interesting match. So Wes Lee comes out right after Dragunov wins to talk to Dragunov. And he's basically like, I just want to let you know to your face that I'm next in line for Carmelo. I want my rematch because I was so close last time, blah, blah, blah.
Wasn't Dragunov also close? And
Dragunov is complimentary of Wes Lee, but then says he's next in line for Hayes, and he's gonna starts to get his super intense and I'll rip anyone's head off that gets in my way. And then Mello comes out. He sounds really smooth as usual. Sets up a number 1 contender match between Dragunov and Lee next week, which should be awesome.
I might check that out.
I would check that. I'm telling you, man, it's getting close to where you should just watch NXT again. Mello holds up the title while Dragunov and Wes have a stare down. Lee sounded fine. Dragunov and Hayes sounded awesome. Dragunov's just unique in his promo styles. It's like he's this intense Shakespearean character, but it works for him somehow, and I don't think it would work for anyone else. He's probably one of my favorite wrestlers anywhere right now. Every match he has is good, right? And then I think his character works good too. One tiny little segment I liked, super quick, because Dominic Mysterio is going to be the special guest referee.
Oh yeah, you told me about this.
So he's in the back in the locker room reading the WWE rule book and just like ripping pages out of it, which I thought was pretty funny. Very on brand for him. High spot. The match wasn't great, but Tyler Bate teased it and then did it well. He got it Dabba-Kato for an airplane spin and actually like he was turning pretty fast. So happy for Bate. He got the win here. Whatever, Dabba-Kato. It seems like they try and heat him up, and then they're like, "Oh, he sucks." So then he goes back to doing nothing, and then they try and heat him up
This
in a
is like
couple
the third
months.
different gimmick he's had. He was Baba
Right.
Tunde in the Greatest Royal Rumble. Then he went Dabba-Kato, and he was a Raw Underground fighter. Then he was Commander Aziz,
Right.
a Nigerian
now
bodyguard.
Dabba-Kato
and now he's
two more
Dabba-Kato 2.0. Like it's.
And I don't think his promos that he's done have been bad. Like super generic big man stuff, but not delivered badly, but just not very fun to watch. Really enjoyed Mustafa Ali and Dragon Lee. Shorter than I would have liked. Fun while it lasted. Ali dominated a good portion of this. He hit a buckshot out of the corner, a buckshot off the announce table, like a draping jackhammer. Lee had a nice counter into that float over sit out power bomb he does. And then I don't know why Dominic made this choice because Ali dominated this match, but he slow counts for Dragon Lee, then fast counts for Mustafa Ali.
I guess it's that building Dragon Lee is the real rival if he's
I think so.
viewed as a threat, and he's like, and maybe Dom will try to strike some deal with Ali, or I don't know.
So Ali gets the roll up here, and he'll face Dom. I also really liked after the match because Mustafa Ali's still like straddling the line of face and heel.
Yeah.
So after the match, it's almost like he realized what he should do if he's a babyface. So he goes over and like, oh, I didn't want to win like that, blah, blah, blah. But he's still going to take the win, right? So I kind of like that. I mean, I might be reading more into it than it was, but that's how I
could see
thought.
him doing that
I
based
liked
on
it.
what I've seen.
Then another segment with Dragunov with Trick backstage. He approaches Trick, and Trick like looks like he's going to defend himself, sort of. And Dragunov's like, no, he's not there to fight him. He's complimentary of Trick, but thinks that Trick lied to Mello when he said that he knew Mello could beat Dragunov. And just like another like quick, realistic, like I respect you after our match, but I think you're setting your boy up to get hurt, sort of thing, and lose his title, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I liked it. Actually liked something out of Eddie Thorpe this week. He cut a really intense promo. It was filmed after his loss to Dijak when Dijak cheated last week. So it's just him mad and intense, and he's not done with Dijak. And his best speaking role for sure, because they were on the verge of doing what they always do, which is, and it's fine. I really like that you're trying to incorporate that he's a Native American, but it was basically one of those, like, that's all he is, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just everything
that
about him.
That defines him.
So
right?
this was more like, he's a human being. He's mad. He lost a match. And I think he ended it speaking in Native American language, which was cool. And like, it's a part of him, but he's a normal person who happens to be Native American, not like he's Native American. That's it. That's all.
That would have been 2.0, right?
Right.
He would have been
like he is
that.
everything about him is Native American, and there's nothing else about him. So I thought this was the best thing he's done, probably. The Axiom Butch match in the Global Heritage Invitational was really good. Some nice holds and counters. You watched this, right? It went to a draw.
Yes, I did watch it, yeah.
Really good TV match. Butch hit a nice sit-out powerbomb, although...
I like the way he does it because his legs end up on him, like, so clean. Like, on the shoulders, like, it ends up so clean.
It's nice. I thought about
really
AEW's rule about having to clear stuff, because this was the third sit-out. There were 3 sit-out powerbombs on this show, right? So... Sweet bitter end. I thought it looked awesome because he came down on a nice
such a
angle.
Good move. I love it.
Each end man gets a point. Really good match. Von Wagner did this weird. I didn't even understand because I put Resthold. Von Wagner's ode to tables, but it was like a close up of him saying like, you know, since I found you, the crowd's really accepted me and blah blah blah. And I think you're supposed to think he's talking to Stone, and then they zoom out and he's talking to a table. Dumb. Didn't enjoy Thea Hale and Gigi Dolan, to be honest. Hale still looks good to me, and she already... You watched this too, and I said, why is it that Thea Hale, who's like a teenager with the years experience, looks better than Dolan, who's been doing this for a very long time?
Yeah, she's been Indying for a long time.
Right, for a long time. So Hale's being like mean girl mentored by JC Jane right now, and she was stopping Hale from doing like all of her usual chase you stuff, like because it's not cool. Hale won with the Kimura after 4 minutes. It was nothing special. You saw this segment and loved it as much as I did. Dana Brooke and Kalani Jordan.
Ugh.
Remember, like, Kalani said something. The first thing she said something was like, "I'm so upset about whatever," and we both kind of went, "Are you?" Because it was like the worst acting ever. It was like
she was
delivered it like she was reading a grocery list.
I'm so upset.
Not even you did it better than her. It's like I am so upset.
I'm very upset right now.
And then of course, Dana Brooke has to come in and try
and be angry or
and then Lyra's there trying to say that she'll face Brooke and trying to convince Jordan that Brooke is not her friend or whatever. And it's just like, I don't want Lyra pulled into this. She's awesome and she's starting to
it's too late
behave like a normal person. But yeah, this is not my favorite.
Not behave like a vulture.
Right. She's not a bird anymore. I like Tiffany Stratton. She had a promo commenting on facing Becky Lynch. Remember she said something like, I've only been wrestling for 2 years and I've already been a champion when you hadn't done anything after 2 years, which I thought was a fair point, right? And then she does her whole "see you next week, bitch, toodles," which I enjoy. She's good. I thought the main event was really basic. It was a no DQ match with Braun and Vaughn. Braun gets the win, but Vaughn got the table spot as you expected, and he also ran Braun through a wall. And then they did a big spot at the end, right, where he's gonna crush Vaughn's head with the steps. And it goes to black, and they make it act like
but I thought clearly like the steps were positioned so that even like if it's it's like when they do the concertos nowadays, where it's like designed to make a sound. So like it's, I think even if the lights are on,
and I don't mind the idea. The idea was they went to like all black screen because it was too violent and they couldn't show it, and the crowd's freaking out and whatever. So interesting idea. We'll see where it goes. Did not enjoy Impact this week, but there's a few things. The opener was decent. Wasn't anything great, but I like the idea that it's Deonna Purrazzo getting ready to face Jordan Grace, so she faces another powerhouse in Danny Luna. Makes sense, right? You take another power lifter turned wrestler. Purrazzo won with the armbar. Crazy Steve had a pre-recorded video that I thought was pretty good. He's saying he's not crazy. He knows what he's doing. He turned on Taurus last week before Taurus could do it to him, and now he's going to face Taurus at Victory Road to end Decay. Still think this is really interesting. I think Taurus is a nice place to start. They have history. Taurus unfortunately never wins anyways, so Steve can pick up a win here. Didn't like Dreamers in tears. He gets emotional so often. I've gone numb to it. He's always doing these like nostalgic blah blah blah, and his career's on the line against Kenny King. They throw in Heath here to try and talk him out of it. No one cares. They couldn't possibly. Didn't like the tag team match. Henry and Yuya Uemura. They have a new dance when they enter, and Yuya has no rhythm whatsoever, so it's kind of funny. But the crowd was kind of...
Oh, it's Joya.
The crowd was kind of into it. Really basic match. They beat Shera and Singh. They won their finishers, the one-hit wonder. I think it was like an assisted neck breaker. Anyways, then there was a better tag match. Sammy and Rich Swann defeated Subculture. 13-minute match. Subculture, don't love them, but they do work really well as a team, and I kind of like Sammy and Swann together. Lots of tandem stuff from Subculture. Swan with a 450 after a Sammy Death Valley driver for the win. Really good match. Leo Rush, Kevin Knight. Super, super athletes in a really good match that got a lot of time as well. Just so much speed and athleticism. Knight continues to impress me. I find myself looking forward to his matches.
I saw Rush like brutalize him after.
Yes. And it's just everything right now with Knight is fresh because I haven't seen him face anybody, and he's really good. He had a great match with a powerhouse in Moose, and now had a really good one here against a really small cruiserweight, right? So I think a bright future for him. He lost here, obviously, because Rush is facing somebody tonight. I forget.
Kushida.
Correct.
And Kushida's got ties to Kevin Knight.
Right. Another nice vignette, really quick with Jordan Grace. She's basically, I think, was finishing training. I don't think it was a training montage. Anyways, it's a photo of Purrazzo posted up with 0-4 written on it, and she tears it up. So, like, not a word spoken, but you know what the story here is. I've never beaten this woman. I need to beat her. Cool. Contract signing, Alicia and Trinity. Alicia, again, is, like, doing this super heel, like, Boston wine mom, almost like they literally had champagne or wine with them. So she was okay, and then Trinity really doesn't say much, and in this company that doesn't like man-on-woman violence, Eddie Edwards Blue Thunder bombs Trinity through a table. Yeah. So that was interesting. And last thing, a weak main event. It was Bully and Macklin, PCO, and Josh Alexander. Just uninspired. And, like, you listen to me do this every week. How many weeks is the main event just random people from
seems like
different feuds thrown
that
together.
seems like their thing.
It's either tags or
More
six-man
so
tags
than WWE.
all the time. And it's getting really, really boring. It feels like there's never any payoff to any major feud on TV ever. Or even any really...
Well, it's because they do too many pay-per-views.
That's exactly it. You're constantly smashing
It's kind of the
together.
WWE thing, which I feel like they've somewhat eased up on, which I like.
Yeah, so Impact seems like they're in a real hot streak of every main event is just multiple feuds mashed together, and I don't like
sort
it.
of match involving too many people.
So this one, the heels won. Bully Ray, even though he's terrified of PCO, hit a low blow, and they win. Really a uninspired match. They never really got into gear, and it was, I think, Alexander's first match back, possibly.
No, that wouldn't have been... Didn't he have the match with Time Machine?
That's right. And I just can't stand PCO's work at this point. And that is it for me. And we obviously didn't catch SmackDown because we were recording down here.
I did look at the clips, but nothing really.
Nothing jumped out at you. And you said you had nothing for figuring this
No.
week. So we're in at a brief 2.5 hours, as it's 1:15 a.m. in the morning now on Saturday. So we need to get to bed. Thanks for stopping by to listen to us talk about wrestling in our basement. We really do appreciate it. Leave a comment wherever you listen. I promise if I see it, and I usually do, I will reply to you, guaranteed. Anyways, we look forward to seeing you back here for episode 165 next week. And until then, everybody, take care.